Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the iRacing Esports Network, and welcome to the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache for the latest round of the World GT Championship. After a week break, we're back into the thick of the action, and tonight's action comes from Interlagos in Brazil. A bit different to the schedule we originally had. We were meant to be at Indy Road, but we've come to Interlagos now, and we've got some new cars and a new track as well to bring you this evening. Joining me in the commentary box alongside me, Adam Bath, to help dissect all of the action from the free 20-minute sprint races that we've got coming up is Sam Fitzpatrick. And Sam, we're back from a week off. We had an endurance race 2 weeks ago at Le Mans, so we got that out of the way, 2 hours. But now we've come back to Interlagos. We've got the sprint format back, and we've got the new BMW M8 to look forward to as well. We've got all the makings of a classic night, really.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's the second half of the season now. I think it's a good opportunity for Just to, turn over a fresh leaf, and I think really get some momentum in this second half of the season. The championship is still very close. I think there's 5 or 6 drivers who've still got a chance. I know Josh Thompson, I believe, has changed the BMW M8, so he'll be a long way behind in the points. So I think it'll be really interesting, and it'll be fascinating to see how quick that M8 is. I think whilst the drivers are still learning the setups in it, I don't think it's going to be the most competitive car necessarily, but I think it's going to just get stronger and stronger as the season goes by, as long as, of course, iRacing don't introduce a mid-season BAP change. But Josh Thompson has got pole position at every round of the championship, I believe, so far. I think he's still got that record. We'll see if he can make it 7 out of 7. That would be quite incredible.
There he is, and there is the new BMW. It is a sight to behold. He is off the track as he is on an outlap and waiting for some of us to get out of the way. We can see the best lap times out on screen for the qualifying session so far, and it is Thompson is currently on the pole with a time of 1:27.395. This a 15-minute quali session. And along with that, we can see which cars are where. It's a Beamer on the pole as things stand. Then it's Indre Setsas' Ferrari in second, and then Carl Jansen's Ford in third. You've got for the first Porsche, you've got to find Christian Rose in fifth. But Thompson, he's dialing it up now, and he is going to start his hot lap right now as we go into the first corner. Good opportunity to hear what the new BMW sounds like, and go in car with it as well. See the steering wheel that is disposed of too as we go through Curva de Sol. Not as loud as you'd expect, but Thompson on a lap now going into Cedar de Largo, left-hander here. You can see there that is Jason Dilworth in the Nomad Green car, the Pro-Am driver that's just gone up into 9th place in his BMW. Heading into really the unknown, Sam, because we had the Sebring 12 hours at the weekend on iRacing, and I believe the BMW M8 made its debut in that, but obviously we're at the start of a brand new season, a new build, and this is a new car too, so we're going to be learning all the time as we go along what the characteristics of this BMW are going to be, and we speak to some of the drivers at the end of the night. They'll be able to help tell us as well.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure Josh will let us know how he feels about the car. It certainly looks styled in. He's on pole position at the moment, of course, and of course that BMW, quite a characteristic of it being so quiet, especially in comparison to the Porsche. Hopefully we'll kind of see that materialise in the race as well. But Josh seemingly has an issue. He'll escape back to the pits. They don't want to waste any time driving back to the pits. They want to escape to the pits and then get going straight to where Josh is doing. Just reduces the amount of time lost, and it maybe allows him to set one more lap. As Chris Stacey's just behind him in the other BMW. Not quite sure who that is. But yeah, good to see that car represented a little bit out there. Also, we've got Setsas, I believe, on a decent lap, about a third lap round, as Simon Underhill for Nomad Green, currently 14th on the grid, which wouldn't be a bad starting position whatsoever. Can he provisionally improve on that? I don't think he can, unfortunately. Not quite as fast as fastest time, but Simon will carry on in his Ford, and we'll be looking to get back into the top 10.
Here comes Jamie Rushworth. He's coming across the line now. A couple of green boxes, and it looks like he has improved. He's gone from 23rd to 11th. Andy Shield also going from 14th to 5th with a good lap time. And now all of a sudden, 3 BMWs are in the top 5 as Thompson goes off the circuit. Matt Bunt coming across the line now, goes from 32nd up to 11th in the CQR GT BMW. Jake Blackhall looks like he's on a flyer. He hasn't set a lap time yet, so it's going to be good whatever happens. Here he comes. He's coming up to the timing line now. 1:27.395 is the time to beat. And Blackhall puts his Porsche up into 5th with a 28.0. Goes and quickly becomes the highest Porsche on the grid as things stand. Highest AM driver is Lane O'Connor. He is currently in 8th. He's joined then by CQR Tarkov's Rusty Laidler. Fantastic to see Laidler back up the order again. He hasn't been as high as that for a while. Ross McFarlane goes 11th now. The Ferrari coming in with a lap with a 1:28.3. Lars Van Ryn putting in a decent time too. Ash Sutton, we haven't really seen much of him this season. He was registered to do the race at Le Mans, but I don't think he got the race started. He is in a BMW 2. Over the line he goes. That is the CQR livery, the 10 years of CQR livery. It's something we'll have to get used to. Sutton goes over the line now, and it looks like it's an invalidated lap for the former British Touring Car Champion, and he's going to get on his way again. So a couple of new paint schemes for you this week. Obviously we've got CQR Race Up, which is what Thompson and Rose and I believe Baker might be behind the wheel of as well. Plus we've got the 10 years of CQR, which Sutton's driving, and of course CQR GT. They make up the majority of the field here as Sutton goes through to Interlagos and up into the infield section of the circuit again. Ferrager and Larangina coming up. Jake Blackhall, Sam, is on a decent lap, a green box in the penultimate sector as he comes to the timing line now. Let's see if he can improve. No, he isn't. He's going straight into the pits and ruins that segue. But here's Sindre Setsas. He's on a quick lap too. Has he gone too?
Yep.
He has.
Well, he should get a couple more. I think only one more run though for Setsas, as there's always a little bit of an issue in the pits. Of course, these cars will go through one another through the pits, but that pit exit can always be a bit of an issue. But of course, no pit stops for these drivers today. Just 3 sprint races as Dan Kraft approaches the line, and he fails to improve. Or did he improve? I think he did improve, but I don't think he moved up any places. He's 23rd currently. As Thompson, he's gone back to the pits again, so yeah, he'll get a couple more laps. But we tend to see this from Josh. He tends to kind of set only one good lap in the whole session, but we need one good lap in qualifying. That's usually enough, as we see Paul Gosling approach the line, and he's gone a while off the circuit, the number 40 car. Interesting to see Michael Blake quite far down in the standings, quite far down in the grid so far. I think he's the AM Championship leader by quite a healthy margin as well. He's really been racking up the points nicely. But I think he's only about 10th out of the AM drivers at the moment out there, so potentially a bit of a dent into his championship lead potentially coming as Rose starts his next lap. The 93 car currently in 8th. Can certainly see him moving up a few positions, certainly into the top 5 potentially, because he is not sure if he's the championship leader, but I think he's in the top 2 right now.
You can see how close it is there. There's Thompson's provisional pole time, 1:27.395. Setsas is just a tenth of a second behind. Then it's Janssen, Palmer, Blackhall, Stevens, Shield, Rose, Lane O'Connor and Rusty Laidler. We'll hopefully get you the points by the time we go off air tonight. The website, the World GT website, is under development and their Google Drive sheet isn't working, just being honest. But we'll hopefully speak to one of the World GT guys during the break so we can bring you more of that. Carl Janssen is on a hot lap. He's coming across the line now and stays 3rd, but sets a new personal best, 1:27.734, and heads straight back to the pits with just over 3 minutes to go in the session. He might just make it back out again to set a new and improved lap if he wants to. P1, Josh Thompson, is on his way now to the line. He is on an out lap though. So too is Jake Blackhall in 5th and Jesse Stevens in 6th. I think the next car that's coming up to the line that's on a hot lap is going to be 9th place Christian Rose. Here he is, the Porsche, who is one of the highest Porsches up there at the moment. I think Jake Blackhall currently is the highest. But here he comes anyway, car 93. Bike 93 was pretty good at the weekend. Wasn't good enough to beat a Ducati as he comes across the line. Christian Rose doesn't improve, 1:28.3, and has to avoid a spinning car. Matt Bunn goes straight above Christian Rose into 9th with a CQR GT car doing 1:28.25. So I want another car off too. I think that might have been potentially Chris Daines. A few cars going here, there and everywhere. This person that is very familiar in the BSRTC though, Dan Kraft. BSRTC coming soon as well in a couple of days I believe. See if Dan Kraft can improve it. no BMW in the BSRTC, but here it's here in the World GT. And Dancraft isn't able to improve on that time. Ash Sutton's on an outlap as well, and he's going to be someone to watch. Maybe not in qualifying if he's not able to string it together as Dancraft goes off for a spin, Sam. But Sutton is always a person that loves to gain tons of positions, and I think we'll probably see that in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. His racecraft is really impressive. He was around at Monza a couple of weeks ago and qualified really well, I think, that day. Qualified on the front row, but had an incident in basically on the run to the first corner. Ruined his race 1, and he was ineligible for the reverse grids for race 2 and race 3. And so it turned into a bit of a disappointing day for him. But he's got nothing to lose. Remember, he's not in the championship race. He hasn't attended all the rounds. And so he could be a bit of a thorn in the side of a few of these drivers. Could play quite an important part, I think. We've got Setsa still driving out there. Not sure what his sector times are like. But he's trying to improve on his lap times. As Rose approaches the line, and that's not a legitimate lap. So this is going to be his last attempt. 1 minute and 5 minutes to go. So all these drivers crossing the line. They're about to start their final lap. As Jesse Stevens, great lap, up into the top 4, ahead of Ben Palmer and Jake Blackhall, and that's a great effort. But that'll be his run done, because I think he's just run a little bit wide through turn 1.
Yeah, if you're new to this series, this is the only qualifying session of the evening, because after that it will be reverse grids for race 2 and race 3. Been a while since I've actually done one of the broadcasts with the free 20-minute sprint races. It's going to be fun. Here comes Ash Sutton, 17th place provisionally, and it looks like he might stay there because... Oh no, it does improve, up to 8th place. Wasn't too good in the final sector, but sectors 3 and 4 were pretty good, and it was enough to elevate Sutton up to 8th place. Paul Smith on a hot lap, 37th, as he comes to the timing line to see if the AM driver, the Smile Time Racing Porsche, can improve, and the answer is no. He stays 37th. David White had a very good final sector, but I don't think that's going to help him at all. Ben Hackerson, P19 in the Radicals Online Sim Auto 4 GT. See if he can get himself further up the grid. Over the line he goes. He's going to stay P19. Not able to improve there either, as the checker flag is now out, and the majority of the field are in the pit lane. 20th place Ben Gregory has spun, or has he stopped? He's definitely not going anywhere. I think he stopped on the exit to Interlagos apparently, but we just can't see him for some reason. And now we've gone back to Scenic. Now time to work out who's still on the circuit. The answer is Sindre Setsas. Here he is. Not too many cars left on the circuit, which may come in his favour. It's going to be a BMW versus Ferrari fight for the pole here in Interlagos, something we haven't really seen since... Oh, and that's kiboshed it, and that's going to be the end of Sindre Setsas' qualifying, which means we can now go to look at Jerome Kaiser, who is coming to the line in his Ferrari now, trying to get himself up the AM category here as he comes across the line. Checker flag out, and he stays P29. 40th place. Ronald Moon's now coming to the line too, Sam.
Yep, can he improve? Yes. I'm not sure if he moved up any positions there.
Yeah, 2. From 40th to 40th to 38th.
Yes, he only improved by about half a tenth of a second, I think, but it was enough, and he'll be quite pleased with that one. But potentially right in the thick of it on that opening lap. It's going to be an interesting opening lap, actually, through that Senna S. Can be a bit of a bottleneck, particularly through that turn 2, and if a driver runs wide through turn 2, hits the barrier, they can rebound onto the circuit, and that can cause big issues. But the driving standards in this series, considering the size of the grid, is quite exceptional. So hopefully we won't see too many issues out there, as the timer just clicks down, and we'll soon take you through the race 1 grid.
Do we well, yeah, of course, rolling start for race 1, race 2 and race 3, and then yeah, the 20-minute sprint races to follow. And after this race meeting, we were meant to be at Indianapolis today, but next week we go to Mosport in Canada. Then the week after that we go to Daytona International Speedway for another endurance race, the final one of the year. And then we end the season for 3 back-to-back 20-minute sprint races, Barber, Road Atlanta and Spa as well, before we have a couple of weeks and the season gets back up and running again in June. So that's what we can expect, and we're now down to the grid. Let's get the grid up and run you through how they're going to line up for the opening race of the day. Josh Thompson starts on pole. It's Corsim Racing Sindre Setsas starting in second. Carl Janssen third. Jesse Stevens in fourth. Ben Palmer in fifth. And Yossi Jake Blackall in sixth. Jamie Rushworth starting in seventh, former BSRTC champion, a driver that he knows well, starting alongside him on row 4 in Ash Sutton. And then it's 007 Andy Scheel in ninth. And Matt Bunn in 10th place in the CQR GT car. Christian Rowe starting in 11th, then the Scotsman Lane O'Connor and the XVR Green starting in 12th, rounding out the top dozen. Highest AM driver too. Fellow AM driver and Rusty Laidler starting in 13th place, lucky for some potentially. Dave Baker in 14th, Dion Phillips starting in 15th for Excite Audio SRD, and then the privateer Ross McFarlane in 16th. Jason Dilworth at one of the highest AM drivers in the field in 17th, then Daniel McCauley. Ben Hackerson in 19th, joined by his namesake Ben Gregory in 20th. 21st is Dan Kraft. 22nd on the grid is Mike Gray. Then we've got Simon Underhill, Richard Warmingham, Michael Hall in the 10 years of CQR car, and Chris Daines, Tom Jacobs, Paul Gosling. And then moving on further back, we've got a flurry of AM drivers. We've got the Dutchman Jerome Kaiser, Steve Burke in the Team Lizard Motorsport in 30th, Adam Hedgecock 31st, David White in 32nd place in the CQR Sim Sports car, Michael Blake 33rd, Lee Deemer 34th, 35th Jason Rowe, and then James Underhill 36th place. Paul Smith in a Small Time Racing car with Ronald Moons alongside him there. Then Josh Rayfield and Lee Woodburn rounding up the top 40. Then John Roberts 41st, Lars Van Ryn 42nd, then Scott Malcolm, Anthony Jacobson, and towards the back of the grid we've got Robert Lundgren, and then the cars didn't set times, just two of them, Morgan Butler and Luke Clark, and it just looks like that Luke Clark hasn't taken to the start. I think he might be the only one that is starting from the pit lane if he gets going at all, as the field gets underway now on its pace lap. Another thing for the new build, Sam, new safety car as well. It's the Porsche in honour of the new iRacing World Championship Series format, which will be driven in the Porsche. We've got a Porsche leading the field to the green, but the highest of the Porsches in the field is, I believe, Blackhall in 6th. So they're going to have to work hard to get further through the field as we get ready to go racing.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I miss the rough a little bit, or the Mustang. I say bring it back. The admins can change it. I want that to happen. But we'll wait and see. And of course AI as well. I don't know if they've changed the tracking of the pace car as well for the AI, but that would be very smart. Anyway, Thompson, pole position every race so far this season, and well, I think he's certainly the favourite for this race one. But it's all about just keeping it clean for these top 10 drivers. All the championship runners really need to try to keep it clean, both the pro and and of course, if they finish outside the top 20, it's unlikely they're going to get in that reverse grid, so that's going to be absolutely crucial.
Here we go then. Let's see how Josh Thompson takes this. 3 20-minute sprint races, the first of which is about to get going now here in Interlagos in Brazil. Cars getting ready. Josh Thompson and Sindre Setsas accelerate away. The green lights are on, and we're racing Interlagos. There's a traffic jam at the back. Hopefully everybody's able to sort each other out. A lot of changes of position before we get down to the first corner, but it's Thompson that remains in the lead, followed by Setsas, followed by Jesse Stevens, who's made a good start. Ash Sutton, what did we tell you about him? He's already got up into 7th position as everyone filters through the centre. Off into the wall goes the BMW. Jason Dilworth. Oh, is everybody going to avoid him? Oh, there's 3 cars off and one upside, very much nearly upside down. That's car 991, that's Lars Van Ryn. Anthony Jacobson also involved. Ben Gregory, I think, is towed back to the pits too. Disaster for him. And there might even be a few more crashes. There is chaos on the Retro Aposta. That is car 69 Ronald Moons. Paul Smith is in there too, I believe, with a hefty amount of damage. A few Sim All cars trying to get going too. Anthony Jacobson, Ronald Moons, Steve Burke in the Team Lizard Motorsport car, all in strife. But the rest of them going through up to Bico to Pato, Sam, and it's Thompson that still remains in the lead, but a few heavy crashes and just the one car, fortunately, and Ben Gregory having to retire back to the pits.
Yeah, of course, these drivers get a fast repair, so they'll be back out on circuit, but potentially off the lead lap crucial. Thompson just blinks out a little bit there. Hopefully he's got no issues out there. But he's under a little bit of pressure from sets. That's about 0.4 of seconds. We see Butler and, oh yeah, it's just a battle between 2 massively damaged cars right now as Setsas getting really close. Is it worth making the move? Remember, he's a long way ahead in the championship. Doesn't need to win this race one. He's glancing to the inside. Thompson doesn't defend too much, and crucially defends in these early stages. Stevens got ahead of Janssen, which could be crucial, but expect Janssen to be pretty feisty, I think, to try to get back up to his teammate ahead.
Into the opening lap then, it's Thompson leading Setsas, then it's Jesse Stevens, Carl Janssen, Ben Palmer and Ash Sutton at the end of the opening lap as we go through Interlagos again. A couple of changes in the midfield. What's going on here? There's a car off. It's a CQR GT car and it's Jamie Rushworth. He is gone off at Interlagos. A bit of damage to the front right as well. Let's see if there is a reason for that. Let's get the replay up. That might not be it. Here it is again. Thompson on the defensive on one of the BMWs. It's on his outside. And, oh, moves across. A bit clumsy there. It's another CQR car as well. You can see the branding on it. And they get going again. That was Andy Shield that he collided with, car 007. Running a slightly different livery to everybody else in the CQR Sim Sports team. And he gets going again without too much damage, but that has really scuppered Rushworth a bit.
Yeah, that was a little. I think that was mainly Jamie's fault, just coming across a little bit in the braking zone and a little bit of contact there, but could have been much worse for those two drivers. As we go on to lap 3, and if anything, Setsas seems to be pretty rapid down these straights, seems to be getting the a nice slipstream down these at the moment, as Janssen is right on the tail of Jesse Stevens. He's going to have to go to the outside through turn 1, he'll have the inside for turn 2, but he's just carried in a little bit too much speed, and if anything, that's not a great exit either. If maybe Sutton was that bit closer behind, he could have got involved, as Matt Bunn now has an issue, having to do a 8-point turn. Oh dear, car number 11 gets back on his way, and he's now lost some 18 positions since his race start.
See what happened. See what took place for Matt Bunn here, going into the first corner. The BMW following the Porsche, going into it, into the Senna S. Oh, locking the rears were very unhappy there, and then he spins. Morgan Butler might have crashed as well somewhere. Just moments later. This is Morgan Butler, who is in 38th place. Has gained 8 positions since the start, but I think he might be about to... Oh, well, helped on his way, almost, by one of the Sim Auto cars. Not too sure which one it was, but poor Morgan Butler's got going again. Might even have been one of the Nomad cars, actually. The liveries are a bit similar, but either way, Morgan Butler in a CQR Tarkov back on his way again. This time he's in 38th places. We check back in with the leaders, who are now going down the front straight again. Thompson versus Setsas, CQR versus Core Sim Racing. It's a battle that we've had all year, and the gap is just 0.2 of a second. Maybe a bit too early in the race for Setsas to think about going for a lunge just yet, but he's keeping Thompson right where he needs to be, and he sets a new personal best as well as he continues his pursuit of the red and black CQR race-up car.
Yeah, and Janssen lost about a second there. In fact, Janssen's now got ahead of Stevens, sorry, so I missed that one. And that's quite an important move. Stevens may try to come back, but so far we've seen from Jesse just, very managed driving. And it's a very close battle actually with Sutton and Palmer right on the tail as well. Also got a fantastic battle between kind of Laidler, O'Connor, McFarlane, Phillips, Macaulay, Kraft, Shield, Hackerson, all in a massive train of cars. This battle isn't too bad either, this four-way train. It's all going on at the moment, as I think O'Connor, has he had a bit of an issue? Yes, he has, with Dan Macaulay. They've gone spinning round. Those two, well, at least O'Connor was one of the top AM drivers, was having a nice run, and this is how it happened. You can see that massive chain of cars, and I think McCoy's an innocent victim here. Oh, well, he's lost it by himself, almost scared by the driver spinning ahead of him, and very fortunate not to be collected by someone else.
Yeah, Macaulay couldn't really have done much about that. He was offline and then saw the crash in front, and if you just touch the brakes, if you're offline through that corner, you're really in for a rough ride. And Macaulay got going again in 22nd place, managed to reverse out of the way pretty sharpish, which meant that he didn't pick up any damage. But here they are, these two again, shades of the Formula E race at the weekend here, where we had Andre Lotterer and Sam Bird fighting it out for the lead. They were nose to tail for pretty much the race start all the way to the end, and those that watched the Formula E race at the weekend will know what happened there. Ash Sutton side by side with Jesse Stevens. The BMW is going to make it into the top four surely here. He's got the inside line, does a little bit of a squeeze on the Radicals Online Sim Auto car, And Sutton is through into 4th place, 4 positions gained. Jesse Stevens might fancy his chances of getting it back here. The BMW. Oh, that's going to be a brave person to get that done around the outside, and I think it might open a gap for Palmer. Palmer throws the BMW up the inside using the extra size of the BMW and the extra robustness to get his way through. We've done plenty of jokes about that on the Facebook page over the weeks. And car 1 is through. Oh, and he gets hit again. Stevens getting the chrome Horman out, the front bumper out a little bit there as he tries to find a way back through going into Pico de Pato.
Well, he must be frustrated right now, Jesse Stevens, because he's gone from 3rd to 6th in just a couple of laps, where he's got a decent run out of here. Not sure what the characteristics of the BMW is, but one of the characteristics of the Ferrari at least is that it's got fantastic top end speed. So we'll see if he can retaliate here. Well, nice slipstream, but really struggling to close in at all. The gap maintaining at about 0.3 of a second. Stevens going to have to stay behind now. Jake Blackwell is very close on his tail. Here is side by side between Kraft and Shield. Shield trying to make his way through after that little bit of an issue earlier on. He's done really well to recover from that, actually, has Andy Shield. And he's now got ahead of his rival up into the top 13, so he should almost certainly be eligible for the reverse grid, crucially. But he can certainly see maybe 3 more positions coming his way. Currently, the top driver, I believe, is Rusty Laidler. Yes, it is, doing an absolutely superb job in 10th overall. And yeah, next driver is actually back to Mike Graves, not having a bad run himself in 16th, as we see Laidler having to defend against Phillips, and these guys are just losing each other's time, really backing themselves up into the drivers behind. Yeah,
those are the drivers down the timing tower there. They are all in red. Laidler getting passed by McFarlane there, and Laidler remaining in the P1 spot. Paul Smith has come into the pits. He hasn't towed or anything, but that is what has happened to him, and you can see where the drivers there in relation to all the pros. You've got Laidler there in 11th, then in 16th place you've got Gray, and then 19th you've got Tom Jacobs as well. Smith, as just saying, into the pits, and we come across the line now to start lap 7, approaching the halfway mark of the opening race of the day. Of course, we've got race 2 and 3 to come, where we will have reverse grids to look forward to also. Question on the YouTube chat about the weather for this one. I don't know if that's something you can check on the sim, Sam, but as somebody drops down the order there, I think it might be Dan Kraft, but in the background, battle is on between Ben Palmer and Jesse Stevens, and this is over 5th and 6th. Obviously Sutton got past Stevens a little while ago, and now it looks like the Palmer has done the same too, and so he might have actually just missed. Here's a replay of it actually. So Sutton got by. Oh yeah, we did see it actually, but nonetheless we'll play it on. But yeah, the weather conditions, Sam, what's it looking like?
It is 22 degrees air temperature and 37 degree track temperature, so really not too bad for these drivers. I believe the second race will be during the afternoon, and so that we could see potentially over 40 degree track temperatures for that one, and then the last race will be a little bit cooler again because it'll be late afternoon. So this first race, not too bad. These drivers will be able to cope with this, I'm sure. I'm not sure if iRacing take into account the altitude. I don't think they do of the circuit. Of course, this one quite high up, being in the Sao Paulo. But yeah, I don't think that will affect the drivers too much, as Blackhawk closing in a bit on Stevens, but of course Stevens with the slipstream of the driver just ahead. Blackwell will look to the inside. He's a little bit late on the brakes. Not sure if that was a deliberate move there, and now it's turned into a spin. And well, maybe just a little bit clumsy there from Blackwell. And Stevens, after running in the podiums earlier on, I'm not sure if he's even in the top 10 anymore.
Drama at the front, drama in this battle too. Here is a replay of it. Josh Thompson and Sindre Setsas are going at it for the lead. We'll bring you that change of position in a moment. In fact, there's been a double change of position, it looks like. Here it is, up the inside goes the Porsche. Slight touch in the rear, and around she goes. While that was happening, Josh Thompson versus Sindre Setsas. This was going into turn 1, into the Senna S, and we're going to see how Setsas briefly had the lead, because Thompson is back in front now. Here is the replay. Up the inside goes the Corsim Racing driver, the Norwegian, Sindre Setsas. Thompson gives him the space, but I reckon we could potentially see what's going to happen here. Through the Curva de Sol, We'll follow it all the way down to Interlagos. Looks like Thompson's going to get the slipstream here, and there's not going to be much that the Ferrari can do. Setsas has the lead for a mere few metres, because Thompson then sends it up the inside. Worth noting that Setsas' teammate, Carl Janssen, is now coming at a rate of knots too. It's now a three-way scrap for the lead for the second half of this race.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Setsas didn't really defend there. He was happy to be on the outside part so he could muscle his way around the outside. But honestly, the BMW just seems to be such a brute out there that it can just punch its way through the field. And that's what Thompson is doing very effectively at the moment. Setsas almost in passing range once again. And that's a decent run going through turn 3. Down to just 0.2 of a second, but if anything, that BMW really seems to have good straight line speed. But now, he could be vulnerable here, Josh Thompson. He might have to go defensive. He is going to go defensive. Setsas had a chance, but just backs out in the end. But that's a nice run. Going through turn 5, 6 and 7 isn't really an opportunity unless you're fully alongside. Thompson still feels the need to just drag himself to the inside ever so slightly. And well, he's running out of opportunities to do it now. We've only got, well, still got 7 more minutes to go, to be fair. So Setsas, Janssen and Sutton as well. He's dragged himself into this battle. Will still have a great chance.
Yeah, on the YouTube chat, someone's just mentioned the Jaws theme because Sutton is a coming here. I wonder if we can make a late race charge and maybe take a bite out of these three. Jesse Stevens is out. He's returned. He's retired to the pits. He got spun out earlier, and this is what's going to end his race. Let's have a look at what happened. Oh, the BMW just sends him into the wall. And
Shield?
Trying to have a look at that. Shield was the light blue BMW. I don't think it was him, but we can take a look at what happened. Oh, I've rewinded quite a far way back here. Have a look at it again quickly. So Shield is the car behind. In the bright blue. Oh, turns me around. 02 might have been. It was Laidler, Rusty Laidler, the AM leader.
Wow.
And you can see the damage model is improving on iRacing. We can say that on the iRacing Esports Network. The splitter has gone. That is going to cause him a hell of a lot of understeer and probably a trip to the pits. Indeed, it does. So Josh Thompson now into the pit lane. While we were looking at those replays, it's a change for second place. Carl Janssen is up into second. He's passed his teammate Sindre Setsas. We seem to be living in replays at the moment, but that's because there's been so much drama in this opening race. See what happened. The Ferrari just dropped back a bit from Thompson's BMW, and it's going to be Setsas getting by into the centre S, hopefully doing it a bit better than what happened between Jesse Stevens and Rusty Laidler. And indeed it is. Car 92 past car 34. And he's into second place now, Carl Janssen. Can the Swede get by the Manxman with just a couple of minutes to go now? We're approaching the final quarter of the opening race of the day here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache Interlagos in Brazil, here on the iRacing Esports Network, Apex Racing TV with you here for the 3 races as we come across the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's how close they all are. And it's Thompson from Janssen, from Setsas and from Sutton. BMW's bookending the top 4 here with a filling of a Ford and a Ferrari here. So 3 of the 4 marks all represented here. We're just missing a Porsche. That highest Porsche is Blackhall in 6th, and the highest dam is now Mike Gray in 14th place as Janssen just starts to get into Thompson's head a little bit now as we get into the final 4.5 minutes, Sam.
Yeah, he's looking really good right now, Janssen. I think that was smart actually from Core Sim Racing just to do that swap. I think Janssen, maybe that was a legit move to be fair, but of course Setsas really didn't bite it too much. But Janssen doesn't quite have as much to lose than Setsas. Admittedly, Janssen is still in this championship, but he's quite a few points back still. But he can pretty much go for a move on Thompson, not worried too much, whereas Thompson really does need these points as much as possible. And Janssen's just lining this one up. He was ever so close to the centre S on the last lap. I think he's going to be in with a great chance at the end of the pit straight. Also got Palmer under pressure from Blackhall. Still those two have been glued together for the majority of this race. You can just see them in the background there, and a couple of other battles as well still going on, but this, if anything, is the closest one, and it's the most significant one, because the one for the lead, as Thompson, is he going to have to go defensive? Carl Janssen right on his tail, but he's just backing out of it at the moment. A bit surprised they didn't go for it that time, but seemingly it feels so he can get even closer to make absolutely certain of the move.
Yeah, just kind of brakes a slightly bit early there. Look at the way he runs out wide onto the curbs down the exit of Curva de Sol. Carl Janssen, he's only a tenth of a second away. Is this going to be his opportunity? He's up the inside, going into Interlagos. Thompson sees him on the inside line. He gives him the space. Now they're going to go wheel to wheel through to Interlagos and up to the Ferragura and Laranjina too. And we've got a new race leader. It's Carl Janssen. Sindre Setsas led earlier. Thompson's not going to rest on that. He's going to try and get around the outside going through here. Now on the brakes, tries to get up the inside, but the Ford gets across quickly and shuts the door before that BMW can find any sort of space at the inside. I think we've had a crash somewhere. Matt Bunn and Jason Dilworth are out. Richard Warmingham has also crashed somewhere. We'll hopefully get a replay to you of that, if not before the end of the race, after the race, after we get the results up on screen. But for now, it's Carl Janssen that's decided to hit the front. Wonder if he's done that just a little bit too early, Sam, because look what we've got now. We've got the final corner, and now we've got the long front straight coming up, and this will give the opportunity for Thompson in the BMW to get the slipstream. And looking at some of the other Beamers earlier on in this race, it looks like the BMW is pretty good once it's got a toe underneath it.
Yeah, and he's really closing in quite significantly, hitting Thompson. If he has a sniff of an opportunity, he's going to take it. Trying to break the toe there is Janssen, and that spoke to be well. As just behind, there goes Ash Sutton down the inside going into turn one. Great move there from Ash Sutton. That is really surprising. I certainly didn't see that one coming, and all of a sudden he's giving himself a chance of the race win, perhaps, because him and Thompson are pretty much teammates. And so, will they change and maybe him go after Janssen? Because right now, Sutton is absolutely racing along. So the car 116, yeah, he's really storming on, but they've only got one more lap to go after this one.
Yeah, when we get to the line, we're going to be getting the white flag, and it'll be the last lap of the opening race of the day. We've got race 2 and race 3, of course, still to come. On the brakes, into the tight and twisty infield. Sutton right in that inside curve there, which you can do in these GT cars. Suspension, putting that to good use there. Closing in on a on Ronald Moons in a Immortal car. He is currently in 41st place. Has lost 3 positions since the start. Has been involved in a bit of action today. Most of the people outside the top 30 have been that wreck in the first corner on the opening lap. Sutton then, he is potentially the man to watch here. He's got Thompson and he's got Carl Janssen in front of him. Thompson driving for CQR Race Hub, Sutton driving for 10 years of CQR, so technically the same stable but 2 different teams. Sutton's looking to the inside, and I don't know if Thompson's just going to let him have a go at him. Up the inside he is. Thompson is going to let Ash Sutton go for this race win here, and the question is, as he closes right up underneath the Ford, is where is he going to do it? One of the overtaking points is coming up now into Interlagos, and then after that you're going to have to get pretty inventive, Sam, because Janssen, who is a pretty experienced racer himself, is going to know all of the places where you would expect Sutton to try and get a move done. Yeah,
I don't think he's going to have enough on the run to the line either. I think it was interesting to see his line through turn 12. You saw him go miles off the circuit just to absolutely square up the corner as much as possible. That could potentially be a tactic where you could get him on the run to the line, but I feel as though he's got to get it done before that. So maybe around maybe around this part of the circuit where there's a few wide entrances, but it's really difficult. Maybe into this next corner, turn 10, I believe it is. When he looked to the inside, I think he thought about it, but he was way too far behind. And it's looking very good right now for Carl Janssen. It's going to have to be something spectacular if Ash Sutton is going to win this race. Watch for him for his super wide line here, although he hasn't taken it too much this time. It's going to be close. I don't think he's going to have enough though.
God, nearly goes into the wall. And Josh Thompson goes through into second. And Sutton may even lose out on the podium here. He's lost that much speed. Sindre Setsas may take the final spot, the bronze medal away. But Carl Janssen is coming through. He's going to take the checker flag and win the opening race of the day. Second, Josh Thompson. Third in a photo finish is Ash Sutton. With Sindre Setsas coming home in 4th. Where's our highest AM driver? It's Mike Gray. Here he is. The Porsche in the XVR silver car. Sorry, the Ferrari in the XVR silver car is going to come through and take home the points in the Pro-Am category. There he is. He emerges from behind Andy Scheel in that BMW and takes home 14th place. Chris Danes, a good job from him. He's come across the line in 16th. He's gained 10 places in this one. Michael Blake also coming home in 19th. He had a great week 2 weeks ago at Le Mans, and before that in the last 20-minute sprint race meeting we had, he gets 19th, 14 positions gained. John Roberts boosted with Savage Gaming. He's going wheel to wheel here with Simon Underhill. Drag race to the line, and it's going to be Underhill by an inch in the Nomad green car. Thompson in the booster with Savage Gaming, finishing in 23rd. 18 positions gained as well. He might have been a main beneficiary of the incident in turn 1. And a good job from him. Who else has we got on a lap here? This is Robert Lundgren going very slow, going through Juncal. I don't know whether this is a recent development. I think it might be. He has been shown as going off the track on this lap. It's going to mean that Morgan Butler gets by in the CQR Tarkov car, a team that's been right in the thick of the action. And he's going to come across the line and take 37th place with Lars van Ryn. Also, excuse me, getting by Robert Lundgren. Let's quickly see what happened to Robert, actually. Looks like he's in a battle here with one of the XVR cars. Is it Warmingham? No, it wasn't. That was just a pure guess. But we're going to see. Through we go. Oh dear. Well, that was Lane O'Connor. He goes across. Well, where's he going to get this? Where's he going to pick up the rest of this damage from? He's going to come back across the circuit. Is he going to rejoin? He is. Oh dear me. Oh, and he's going to get collected as well by Lee Woodburn, and that was something that we didn't really want to see there. Lane O'Connor and Robert Lundgren making a right mess of the final lap. Just before we get to the results, Jason Dilworth has crashed. He's in the pit lane here. I'm hoping he's not going to crash it whilst in the pit lane, but oh dear, he is. Oh dear, Jason caught on camera. And Matt Bunn. This is going to be involving Richard Warmingham, I believe. Up the inside, there's the XVR car. Oh, it's something we've seen before. Those two spinning. And, oh, he tries to get it going again, but the turning circle in that BMW is so big. I say he couldn't help hitting the wall and picks up a bit of front left damage to go with it as well. But, yeah, a few crashes unfolding in the final lap of the racer.
Yeah, after some pretty high quality racing as well, it all kind of went kaput in that last lap, and yeah, a few comical issues there for drivers, but hopefully they'll be able to bounce back for race 2. And of course we'll have a reverse grid, but I think first off we'll go through the results.
We will. Yeah, did I say Justin Thompson? If I did, there you go. I've got something or someone on my mind anyway. Yeah. Rob Custom Radicals saying week 13 things, and that's what we want to see, says Davey Wittervold. Well, if anybody crashes in the pit lane again, we will show it. Carl Janssen wins, Josh Thompson second, Ash Sutton third. Good battle at the front with Sindre Setsas just a couple of hundredths behind, heading home the big four. Ben Palmer in fifth, and then the two teammates at CQR Race Hub as well, David Baker and Christian Rose, with Jake Blackhall finishing in 8th, Ross McFarlane, the Scotsman, finishing in 9th, and Dion Phillips rounding out the top 10. 11th, Andy Scheel, car 007. Then Ben Hackerson, 12th. Jamie Rushworth, 13th place in the CQR GT car. That is despite going off earlier on. Mike Gray, highest of the AMs. He finishes in 14th place. Then Dan Kraft, car 22, finishing in 15th place. Good drive by Dan Kraft there. Then Chris Danes in 16th. Tom Jacobs in 18th, but is headed home by Daniel McCauley, who finishes in 17th. Moving on. And Michael Blake in 19th, then 20th Paul Gosling, then Adam Hedgecock, Simon Underhill, then we've got John Roberts finishing in 23rd place. You can see how close it was there actually between Underhill and Roberts, just over a hundredth of a second between them. Jason Rowe in 25th, then Lee Woodburn, Matt Bunn in 27th, he spun just before the end of the race. Steve Burke 28th, Simon Underhill 29th, and James Underhill I should say, and then Michael Hall in 30th in the 10 years of CQR car. Then the Welshman Lee Deemer at 31st place with Jerome Kaiser in 32nd. David White in 33rd. Anthony Jacobson in the Immortal Dragon Internet team finishing in 34th. Scott Malcolm in 35th and Richard Warmingham in 36th. And 37th, 36th, Richard Warmingham. 37th, Morgan Butler. Then Lars van Rijn, Robert Lundgren, Lane O'Connor, Ronald Moons, the Belgian, in 41st. Then Ben Gregory, Josh Rayfield, Jesse Stevens, Paul Smith, Jason Dilworth, and then Luke Clark in 47th. So that is the tail of the opening race of the day. And now it is time to get the reverse grid wheel set up, because for the first time in a couple of weeks we have now got that to look forward to. So let's get it up on the screen, and we will get set to spin it and find out who's going to be on pole for race 2 of the day. Wheels just loading up now. Talk amongst yourselves, and any second now we will get it up. And who's eating dinner? That is Sam Fitzpatrick. I don't know what's on the menu, Sam, but there you go.
Oh, it's absolutely delicious.
There you go. Well, hopefully this is a sumptuous reverse grid spin. Let's spin it and find out who's going to be on pole for race 2. It's a relatively small one, and it is 18. So who is that going to be on the pole for race 2? 18 is Sam.
Tom Jacobs.
There we go.
And he'll be alongside Dan McCauley, so that could be, certainly for Dan, that could be a good opportunity for him. Of course, Tom went from 27th to 18th in that race, so certainly earned that one. And Chris Daines and Dan Croft will be on the second row. And not too many super quick guys, I'd say, out of position. Maybe Andy Shield could be a dark horse, so to Jamie Rushworth. And of course, the only AM driver, well, 2 AM drivers will get involved in that one. That'll be Mike Gray and Tom Jacobs. So kind of a bonus for them after their great result in race 1. They're going to have a great result. They're going to have a great opportunity and a great result in race 2 as well. So will be great to see. And yeah, it's impossible to call. It's unique with this series. Sometimes with a few series, we kind of just expect the fast guys to, make their way through. But in this series, it's very rare that you see a single driver winning multiple races in an evening. So, yeah, roll the dice, I think.
Great, well, we'll take a quick break here on the iRacing Esports Network and get set for race 2. It's coming up in a few minutes here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache in the World GT Championship.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail. Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail. Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network. Welcome back to the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache for the second race of the day in the World GT Championship. Adam Bath with Sam Fitzpatrick once with you once again here as I put my teeth back in. Getting set for another 20-minute sprint race around the circuit. Josh Thompson led the majority of race one but was eventually passed by Carl Janssen. Went on to take the win for Ford just when it looked like the BMW was going to get its win in its maiden race in the championship. The wily Ford came through and got it. A few people in the YouTube chat asking since when has the BMW been available. It came out last week with a new Week 13 build, and starting from tomorrow it will be contested in the new official series, Sam, as we get ready to go for the second race and the grid rolls by on your screen.
Yes, another exciting news for iRacing is that the fact that we're going to have stadium trucks for iRacing coming potentially in the next build. That's what they're aiming for. Not necessarily, but I think it's a link up with Lucas Oil Championship or whatever. Sorry, apologies, whatever it's called, and that's going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm certainly going to buy some trucks and drive it on some dirt tracks. That sounds absolutely great fun. So great addition to iRacing. Of course, they do keep on adding these great additions, such as the day nights as well, and of course AI and the new damage model as well. So a lot of great things coming to iRacing racing.
Cars coming into Juncal in a moment, and we're going to get the second race of the day underway. You can see which drivers had issues during the opening race as they quickly flash up on the grid. There's Ash Sutton starting in 16th place. 18 cars reversed for the second race here at Interlagos. It's going to be Jason Dilworth and Paul Smith starting at the back. Jason Dilworth going to be on a row all by himself. There was a bit of chaos at the back at the start of race one. due to the field getting bunched up a bit. Let's see if it's going to be the case here in race 2. Cars getting set then for the second race of the day here in the World GT Championship at Interlagos. Safety car pulls into the pit lane. The field is left in the hands of Tom Jacobs and Daniel McCauley. Green lights are on and we're underway here at Interlagos as Daniel McCauley immediately cuts across Chris Danes going into the centre S. Let's hope it is all clear. Round the outside goes Jacobs, McCauley. Very close indeed. And they're all safely through the centre S for the first dozen anyway. Let's see if it will remain that through the Curve of the Sol. There's a few and spinning in the background. Scott Malcolm is one of them in the Team Ads car. Boosted Lars van Rijn also around. Into the Sila Delago then. It's Tom Jacobs versus Daniel McCauley. Porsche versus Porsche. They lean on each other. They almost come to blows and very wide goes Tom Jacobs. He may be under pressure from Chris Danes as a result. These two have been side by side since the start of the race, Sam, and they're still going at it going into the infield.
Oh, great move on Jacobs, and now almost round is McCauley, and he is going to be round, and he's made contact with the BMW there, and it was always going to lead to carnage, unfortunately. And in the end, it's really gone poorly for him after that move going into turn 1. It's really gone downhill, and now Danes is up into second position with Mike Gray in third. Phillips has had a nice start from fourth up into from ninth up into fifth now, and also Sutton up into top 10 already. So that's really opened up this race. That little spin
really has. Up the hill we go then out of junk out. Chris Danes might fancy his chances of getting the lead here. It's going to be Beast Racing's Tom Jacobs versus Chris Danes in the Northern Lights Racing GT Omega car as the cars fly into view now as we come across the line to complete the opening lap. Which Porsche is it going to be leading? It's Carnage in the midfield as up the inside goes Danes. He goes into the lead. Gray is going to try and take the lead away from Jacobs too. This is now quickly become a fight for the best amp. There's a Ford in the mix. Ooh. And what advantage taken there by Ben Hackerson. Shoots up the inside when Tom Jacobs and Phillips collide as Jason Dilworth's crashed somewhere, I believe, and Andy Scheel in the blue BMW is trying to get by some of the other cars as well. You did mention the start by Ash Sutton. He's gained 7 spots already. He's not too far away from this battle between Andy Scheel and the Ferrari of Ross McFarlane here as we go into the S's again.
Yeah, really nice start for Phillips as well. He's just been picking up the positions. Gray will be a little bit frustrated with how that turn 3 went. And now side by side, who's that trying to get involved? Just behind, of course, we've also got Sutton. I think that's Rushworth and McFarlane trying to get involved. Shield should have the line on Gray, but Gray will keep his nose down the inside. Phillips almost making a contribution to this battle as well, just holding up the driver on the outside, but surely on the inside, I think he's finally made that one stick. Has Andy Scheel against Mike Gray. Still going side by side now. Sutton will try to get the perfect launch. If anything, he's just had to stop there, but still gets a nice launch there. Does Ash Sutton. He's got one of them. He's got past Jamie Rushworth. Next up will be Ross McFarlane for him. And, well, he's absolutely scything his way through this field. If he can really get onto it, he might just win this race still.
The Ferrari's cutting across, isn't he? Sutton is there. And he has every right to be there. Up the inside goes the BMW, and he's going to try and get past Ross McFarlane into the centre S. Oh, so close between the pair. This is allowing Sindre Setsas and Jamie Rushworth to get a nice piece of the action too. Up to Desina Delago then. This should be Sutton's corner. They almost touch again, maybe a bit of mirror-to-mirror combat there. Now here comes Sindre Setsas up the inside. He's going to waste no opportunity and get past the privateer Ross McFarlane too. You can see how close everybody is on the track map. Pretty much the entire 37. It's just one long snaking cycle of cars. And McFarlane still hasn't given up hope of keeping Setsas at bay, but surely he's going to have to yield, and through does go the core sim racing car. So Setsas up to 7th, Sutton up to 7th, sets us up to 8th, and those two are on the move as Jamie Rushworth goes into battle with a CQR colleague in Christian Rose going into junk out.
Yeah, it's all going on in this battle there. So evenly matched, and yet we're seeing so many overtakes as running wide and off goes car 22. That is Dan Kraft round, and awful for him. and he's just lost so many positions, some probably 20 positions or so, just with a small mistake like that, and it's cost him very bad. Jacobs under pressure from Shield, who's making his way up through the field nicely. Also we've got Gray, and we've also got Sutton as well making his way through. Can Sutton get straight past Jacobs there? Yes, he can, and he might even get 3 cars, I think, in just a few corners, because Andy Shield, of course, is his teammate, pretty much his teammate. And, well, 2 by 2, they go into turn 4. Going to be Sutton, I think, moving up into 4th position, out 12 positions, ahead of Shield. Gray, alongside Jacobs, who's now lost to Setsas as well. And Setsas is doing a pretty good job at the moment of getting through this pack, desperately trying to keep up with Ash Sutton.
Running outside goes car 34. There's a few cars now between Setsas and Sutton, but Setsas able to get that move done. Paul Smith and Morgan Butler have come to blows, potentially. Here's a replay. So Paul Smith is the car in front. Morgan Butler trying to go around the outside. Smith goes up the inside. Oh dear, no, it wasn't he. So Smith gets hard on the brakes and goes into the side of Butler. Looks like they've both been able to get going again. Butler doing a relatively good spin turn, going through the centre S, and they are now at the back of the field. Paul Smith 38th, Morgan Butler is in 41st, as here they come over the timing line again. Watch out for Ross McFarlane, he's now trying to get past Tom Jacobs. Poor Jacobs is not necessarily a sitting duck, but is coming under increasing pressure from all of the cars that were at the front of the field in race 1. Can't help that they're just trying to fight their way back through the field again. As Jacobs does a very good job of holding it out around the outside. One of the few places on this circuit where you can actually do that. And Christian Rose takes full advantage. He goes through as well, as we have a change for the lead. Sam Ben Hackerson around the outside of Chris Daines. But they're still going at it.
Nice defence there from Daines, and Hackerson's going to have to just back out of it for now. They're only 1.5 seconds ahead of Phillips, but more importantly, they're only 2.8 seconds clear of Sutton. And with 13 minutes to go, can't help but feel if these guys start fighting, they're just going to make the inevitable happen, as now they're losing each other a lot of time. Contact between the two of them, that's not going to help their long run pace either, and really bad for those guys at the moment. Also super close between Rose and Thompson and McFarlane and Janssen and Jacobs and Baker and Rushworth as well. They're all in a fantastic queue. Rose losing out currently to Thompson, and now Rose is going to lose out again to McFarlane. That's not what he wanted. And also Janssen will be soon past these drivers as well. You can see they've all got past Jacobs on this lap.
Yeah, Jacobs down to P12 now after that. Andy Shield is not letting Ash Sutton get away with it all. I don't know whether Sutton might have gone off somewhere or whether Shield just got a fantastic run out of Juncal, but either way, Andy Shield up into 4th position. Sutton, no, is going to try and swoop around the outside into the centre rest. If he can pull this off, it'll be a mega move. Meanwhile, Ben Hackerson versus Chris Daines. It's now a breakaway trio at the front. Dion Phillips with a relatively new paint scheme as well for this one, in the Excite Audio SRD car, but it's these two, Radicals Online Sim Auto versus Northern Lights Racing GT Omega, going into Desilo del Lago, and I need to watch out for that Ferrari behind as well. Hackerson gets very out of shape on the exit there, and Daines might be up the inside. We might have a Trulli versus Sutton on our hands here, as Sutton in that second group looks like starting to heat up a little bit there. Daines up the inside, he should remain there now. There's no way he can run around the outside here, as Dion Phillips tries to get up the inside of Hackerson there. Hackerson though pins the Ford on the inside there and keeps the Ferrari at bay for now, and wonder how long we've got before Ash Sutton, Setsas and Andy Shield all get in the mix as well. Shield, he was a couple of places behind Sutton a couple of laps ago. He's now just 1 place behind and set a fastest lap of the race on the previous tour as well. So Setsas is a man on a mission. He just finished on the podium in race 1. It was a very close run thing between him and he just missed out on the podium, I should say, in race 1. It was a close run thing between him and Ash Sutton, but it was the former BTCC champion that got that 3rd place. Now he wants a win, and he's coming up behind Sutton now as Dion Phillips tries to get past Hackerson into the centre S.
Yeah, just glancing to the inside, also Setsas is really looking strong. In that race 1, looked as though Sutton was the fastest driver out there. Remember, he was quite far behind Setsas at one point, but managed to catch and pass him. Fair thing, it's the complete reverse in this one, as we see Setsas really closing in. Maybe he'll look to the outside and then do the dummy. No, he's just interested in catching up to those drivers ahead first, and then maybe going at battle, maybe and say Sutton might get involved in a incident or something, or might get held up by those drivers just ahead, but they're going to be on to the top 3 drivers, I think, by the end of this lap, I think, because they're absolutely racing along nearly a second a lap faster, can't they? So quite incredible. Also got McFarlane versus Janssen out there. They're almost side by side, and there they are. McFarlane managing to resist the attacks from Janssen. He's just got a bit stuck there with Rose, really struggling to make any more moves up through the field.
Indeed, yeah, and in race 2 and race 3 we really see which cars can utilise their overtaking capabilities and get through the field. Obviously we've seen that so far with Sutton and Setsas. They've gained 12 and 10 places respectively. Josh Thompson's gained just gained 9 as well. Carl Janssen's gained 8, which in any other race wouldn't be too shabby, as here comes Ben Hackerson again. He's going to try into the centre S as we reach the halfway point of this one, and he gets it done. He's clear, but can Danes get a good run through the Curva de Salon onto the Retta Aposta? The answer is yes. So too can Dion Phillips. Hackerson might be in danger of getting a little bit mugged here, or maybe it could be Chris Danes getting passed by Dion Phillips. Let's see, the Ferrari brakes late. You can see the nose dive under braking, and he's dived through, and he's got the place. And here comes Sutton, out of nowhere. Ash Sutton past Chris Danes and into 3rd. Just when it looked like that Chris Danes was going to get the lead, he's now down to 4th place. And now Hackerson, he's pulled the pin here, and so too has Sutton, as I think there's been a crash in the midfield. We'll get to that in a second, as Dion Phillips has to defend heavily from the attacks of Ash Sutton. And now it was a front 3, it's now a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way back to Andy Shield, as Ben Palmer, car 1, has crashed somewhere on the track. Let's see what happens here. Car 1, how's this going to take place? Is he going to spin? Oh, there's already a car off. There's 2 cars off. That was that was more, well, might have been Underhill, and yeah, Ben Palmer having to take evasive action after that took place. But here is Setsas now trying to get past Chris Danes. This could be about to be the end of a really frustrating lap for Chris Danes here. A few minutes ago, he was trying to worry about Ben Hackerson, but now he's going to be at the back end of the top 5 as Setsas goes up the inside into the centre S.
Yeah, just as we cut away for that replay before, we saw a fantastic move from Sutton moving past Danes, and it seems as though Danes just got shuffled down a little bit soon after that, and now Sutton only 0.4 of a second behind Hackerson. He's won plenty of fantastic races as Ash Sutton, but to gain 15 positions, as it looks like he is going to do so, would be yeah, certainly right up there. He's got 7 minutes to do it. Doesn't need to rush it, but he has got Dion Phillips and Sindri Setsas pretty close behind. This midfield battle, if anything, has just got closer and closer in the closing, the back end of the top 20. As yeah, Burke and Blake going at battle. Of course, Blake, one of the front runners in the championship, hasn't been a great day for him so far, but he is raking in those points as we just hear an incident behind, and that was Ewan Kaiser, I believe, going wide.
Indeed it was, yeah, going for the Ferragira, got quite a big slide on. Did a great job of holding on to it as Ash Sutton hits the front. The 10 years of CQR car takes the lead away from Ben Hackerson. We'll have a look at what happened in a moment, because as you can see, the Ford GT is showing no signs of wanting to stay in this second place for long, and now we're going to see the speeds of these two. Who is going to come out on top as we come out of the final corner through the flat out left-hander and over the timing line. You're going to have to be a good driver to beat Ash Sutton under braking, and Ben Hackerson decides to stay in second place for now. Dion Phillips versus Sindri Setsas into the first corner. Setsas can't let Sutton get away, but it looks like that's going to have to be the case, because Phillips is putting up a resolute defence as now Chris Danes feels the heat of the CQR Sim Sports ice blue livery car, and Danes might just be about to drop down to 6th here. Up the inside goes Shield, through goes car 007, and now Josh Thompson, who finished in 2nd in race 1, fancies his chances of getting into 6th place, as Let's have a look at the replay quickly. What happened to Core Sutton to get into the race lead here with a couple of laps to go. Here it is. Actually, no, that's not it. That's Rusty Leder getting past Joran Kaiser. Here is the replay into the infield section. Hackerson might just be about to get set up here, or is Sutton going to do the move into Bico to Passo? That's why it's going to be. Don't see too many overtakes there, but once Sutton got the inside, Sam, there wasn't anything that that Hackerson could do really, and now he's going to have to try and get back on the tail of Sutton. But you can see the BMW was already starting to stretch its legs. The gap's up to 0.6 of a second now as we approach the final 5 minutes.
Yeah, Hackerson had the opportunity to retaliate going into turn 1 on the last lap. Took the wise decision just to stay in second position. He wants to get a podium out of this, as Phillips, who has defended incredibly well so far against Setsas, and he's continuing to do so. Remember, Sinjay, one of the front runners in the championship, does not want to lose any points, as Thompson now makes his way past Danes. So Thompson up into the top 6. He's only he's only about 4 seconds off the lead. He's not going to win this race, as Setsas goes to the outside against Phillips. Seen plenty of contacts on turn into this corner so far today, and Phillips has got a very poor run. Setsas is going to try and go round the outside. Also trying to go round the outside, I think, is going to be Janssen versus Danes. But here comes Setsas. Really difficult to go round the outside here. You've got to go such a far distance as he looks to the inside. Phillips, though, just with a bit of an early turn in. And right now, Sinjay can just not get the move done. And that's a fantastic move there by his teammate, Carl Janssen.
Yeah, 2 battles going on at the same time, both involving Core sim racing cars. 2 different manufacturers in Ford and Ferrari, and Danes. Credit to him, he's trying everything possible to stay inside the top 10, and it looks like he might just still stand a chance of doing so with just 4 minutes to go. But he gets passed by Carl Janssen, and now Dion Phillips. He's starting to feel the attention of not just Sindre Setsas, but potentially Andy Scheel as well. Last time around, he was in the 29s, while Setsas, Scheel and Thompson were all in the 28s. Over the timing line we go to start lap 12 of the race, and not too many laps to go. Round the outside goes Setsas in the Ferrari. It's a prancing horse versus a prancing horse, and Phillips just about closes the door. It looked like Setsas may have been heading for the wall unless he had corrected the steering. And now Andy Scheel in the BMW has a great opportunity to potentially take that spot away from the Ferrari. Round the outside goes Scheel. It would be very tough there to get that move done. Tries to get it done around the outside, runs a little bit wide. Thompson is somewhere behind him. He's about 0.4 of a second away. The gap between Sutton and Hackerson is about 1.1 seconds as Phillips defends the inside line into the Ferragura. That might give the opportunity for him to run wide and allow Setsas through. But Phillips is trying to handle the widest Ferrari in Sao Paulo here, as this trio or quartet fight their way over what will be the final spot on the podium.
Yeah, quite incredible this from Dion. I don't think I've seen defence to this magnitude so far this season. Remember, he's probably about 3/4 of a second a lap off Setsas, and yet he's being able to keep him behind, and that's not an awesome run from Setsas again, so it's not going to be an easy move going into turn 1, but I do actually fancy his chances this time. He's got to within 1/10 of a second. Phillips will go to the inside. Setsas tries to go to the inside. That was going to be very risky, and maybe Phillips just defending a little bit late there, because Setsas was not pleased. Now, round the outside, he's not really succeeded with this move so far today, but he's going to try to keep his nose in there. There's almost contact. There is contact, and finally, Phillips's defence comes to an end, and he almost makes contact with Thompson there, who quickly gains a position, and all of a sudden, Thompson's going to be pretty close to Setsas as well. And Scheel also moving past Phillips as Thompson does the dummy down the inside into turn 4. There's going to be contact between the 2 championship challengers, and Setsas goes spinning round, and this race 2 has really gone poorly for him.
Well, it was going so well up until that point. He had been fighting his way through the field. Obviously, Sutton's not a championship contender, so he didn't have to worry about him. And Thompson doing the courteous thing. He has slowed down and allowed Setsas through. Oh, Setsas broken steering. His race is over. No way he's coming back from that. He tried to turn into the right hand at the Ferragura, and look at it, he's got full lock, trying everything to turn it. It just will not turn right. And that is his race over. Thompson No way Thompson can wait for him now. He's going to have to get going, but what a shame for Sindre Setsas. And I wonder if that's something that we've seen with the new damage model, Sam. Just not the slightest, not too much contact, but it was enough to break that right front steering, and means that Sindre Setsas' race is over.
Yeah, I know in the Radical SR8, that's been a feature for a while with the incredibly weak wishbones on that as we go back to third position. So it's now Shield somehow up into third position. Janssen might get a podium out of this. Round the outside he goes. We've seen the BMW so strong in wheel-to-wheel combat so far today. Janssen, though, I think has managed to get this one done. No, Shield is not giving up on it. And the battling we have seen through that centre has been quite spectacular so far today. Phillips was also trying to get himself back involved. You can see Danes just behind him. McFarlane as well. As Janssen round the outside, there's contact between the two of them, and he gets boshed off the circuit. You might even have the inside still for turns 6 and 7, but no, moving just ahead is Shield, and that would be some podium from Andy Shield if he could hold on to this.
Half a lap to go here. We're on the final lap of the race. Sindre Setsas has managed to make it back to the pits. Not it's going to do much, and around goes Setsas. This is a disastrous race for Core Sim Racing. He's going to get going again in about 11th place, which is just one place ahead of where Josh Thompson is, incidentally. But around he goes. Ross McFarlane was involved in that too. What it does mean is that Andy Shield is going to remain in that third place. Danes is now up to 4th. So just when it looked like he was in about 8th place, the Northern Ice Racing GT Omega Kart is right at the front. But one man who's in front of him, one man who's going to take the win here, he was on the podium just about in race 1. He's going to take the win here in race 2. Ash Sutton wins at Interlagos. Ben Hackerson is going to finish in 2nd. And Andy Shield is going to get the CQR Sim Sports car on the podium. It's going to be a drag race for 4th. Is it going to be Danes? Is it going to be Phillips? It's going to be Phillips by a couple of hundredths. Then it's Danes, then McFarlane, and then Mike Gray. Credit to Mike Gray, highest damn driver yet again. He finishes in 7th place, only 2 positions lower than where he started. Great job by the AM there. Did Carl Janssen make it to the finish? I believe he did, but he was very quickly out of there. P23 for Daniel McCauley. He comes across the line in his Porsche to take that spot. He was near the front at one point, but went spinning off on the opening lap of the race. And now everybody else is streaming across the line. 30th to 31st to about 35th was separated by not too much. Paul Smith comes across the line to finish in 35th. He was crashing earlier with Morgan Butler, and he takes 38th place. Here comes Scott Malcolm in 39th, and Sindre Setsas, he came into the pits, got a fresh new car. He's going to come across the line and finish in 40th. It won't help him in terms of the reverse grid, but it will improve his starting position by a little bit. And credit to him, Sam, with coming into the pits and getting a fresh new car, he was still able to come out and finish on the lead lap and still pick up some potentially priceless points.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's still the championship leader is Sindre Setsas, so that's absolutely crucial. Christian Ridd's been struggling a little bit today, and of course Thompson with him changing cars has lost quite a bit of points, but also Janssen getting himself back involved in the championship. There's plenty of more rounds to go, of course, and we'll elaborate on it more as the season goes on. But that's certainly heating up, but nice for Sindre to get back to the pits and, of course, take the checkered flag.
Right then, let's get the race results up from race 2. Of course, one race still to go here on the iRacing Esports Network. Ignore the gaps, but I think the positions are correct. Ash Sutton wins. Ben Hackerson finishes in 2nd. Andy Shield gets on the podium in 3rd. Then Dion Phillips 4th. Chris Danes in 5th. Ross McFarlane finishing in 6th place. Then Mike Gray in 7th. Highest dam yet again. 8th then is David Baker. 9th Christian Rose. And 10th for Michael Hall. Carl Janssen finishes in 11th. Josh Thompson managing to get the car into 12th place in the end despite slowing down and waiting for Setsas. Thompson managed to finish in that 12th spot. Tom Jacobs of Beast Racing finishing in 13th place with Steve Burke 14th, 2 Pro-Am drivers there. And Jamie Rushworth in 15th place. 16th for Rusty Laidler, followed by Simmortals Michael Blake, the Pro-Am driver, finishing just behind Rusty. Then Ben Palmer in 18th despite a crash earlier. Simon Underhill in 19th place, Sharon Kaiser in 20th, then Dan Craft 21st, Richard Warmingham 22nd, Daniel McCauley in 23rd place, and a trio of AMs, Jason Rowe, Adam Hedgecock, John Roberts, who did pretty well in race 1. 27 for Ben Gregory, 28 for Ronald Moons, the Belgian, then Jake Blackhall, the Aussie, in 29th, David White in 30th, then Lee Deemer, James Underhill, Paul Gosling, Lars Van Ryn, Paul Smith survived a scare earlier to finish in 35th place, then Josh Rayfield, Jason Dilworth, then Morgan Butler, Scott Malcolm, then Paul Sindre Setsas finishing in 40th place in the end. That damage, that broken right front corner meant that he couldn't steer, managed to somehow get the car back to the pits, mainly thanks to probably being an anti-clockwise circuit and getting a fresh car and finishing still on the lead lap. Anthony Jacobson 4 laps down, then Robert Lundgren, Lane O'Connor, Matt Bunn and Lee Woodburn round out the field here in the second race of the day. And we now have the reverse grid to get ready for the third and final race. It was 18 in race 1, to set the grid for race 2. What's it going to be this time as we get it up? There it is, still on 18. And let's spin it and we'll find out who's going to be on the pole for race 3 here in Interlagos. It's going to be 18 again, Sam, so who's that going to be on the pole for race 3?
Ben Palmer will be on pole position. I must say, I'm glad that Michael Blake will be alongside him on the front row, because Blake missed out on the reverse grid by 1 place in race 1. This time he will be on the front row of the grid. Rusty Laidler up there in 3rd, so AM drivers 2, 3 and also 5 as well, because Steve Burke will be up there. And Tom Jacobs, actually. So plenty of AM drivers near the front of the field. Also Josh Thompson and Carl Janssen, I think, starting in 7th and 8th. So they could be very strong contenders. Should be another fantastic race 3 to round off the meeting here at Interlagos.
Yeah, it's been a good one so far. Plenty of drama, bit of controversy as well in the battle for the lead. That really combusted in with a couple of laps to go between Josh Thompson and Sindre Setsas. Setsas will obviously be starting pretty much at the back for the third and final race. Thompson will be in the midfield. He will be near the front though, because he finished in 12th and it's only an 18-car reverse grid. So we'll see what he can make of that final race. But plenty of stories still to unfold here in the World GT Championship, which will continue from here at Interlagos after this break here on the iRacing Esports Network. You will not want to miss it.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail. Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail. growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year.
Well, we're back for the final race of the day here in the World GT Championship at Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, Interlagos in Brazil. Sao Paulo, the most popular, heavily dense populated cities in the world. Hosted a Brazilian Grand Prix since 1990. And we're here for the final race. Another 20-minute sprint race coming up. And the grid will be with you any moment now, as I'm back here with Sam Fitzpatrick again. And the sun is just starting to set here around Brazil. But one feature we haven't really talked about this circuit, Sam, is that it's in a bowl, in a valley. So apart from maybe going up towards the finish line, there shouldn't be too much concern in terms of having the sun in your eyes, potentially.
Yeah, I don't think it should be too bad. It's such a unique circuit, this, because it used to be significantly longer. This middle part of the circuit used to have an extra 3 or 4 hairpins to it. There's not too much footage, unfortunately, of it from those days, but it looked like a fantastic circuit anyway. But I think this one is just as entertaining, and got just as good rating as these drivers have exhibited so far today. And track temperature a little bit cooler now, so it's down to 22 degrees track temperature, and that can change the setup slightly. It means that the front end grips a little bit more, have a little bit more over rotation, which can be a little bit detrimental to your balance potentially. So wouldn't be surprised these drivers have changed maybe a couple of things, taking a little bit of rake out potentially, and could be a bit of a challenge with the sun, as you said as well. But this race today, once again, we have no clue who's going to win. And I cannot wait for the 20 minutes to round out this meeting 6 of the season. Meeting 7 of the season, apologies.
Yeah, we did have a week off last week. And this is a great way of finding out what the BMW is going to be like for when the official series get underway tomorrow. In fact, the official series are finished pretty much now. There was a message on the iRacing sim saying between 10 o'clock and midnight GMT there will be no sessions as they get set for the official series to begin tomorrow. Cars getting set then for the third race of the day, the final race in the World GT Championship here at Interlagos. The green lights go on, it's Ben Palmer leading us to the green flag, and what a start by one of the BMWs in the middle. That was Josh Thompson flying up through the middle as we go into the first corner. Let's see who is going to be there first. It looks like it's going to be Ben Palmer. There's some muscle car, Michael Blake, holding it out around the outside. He's the highest AM driver in the field. Watch out for Josh Thompson. He's already gained a spot already. Everybody's still trying to filter their way through, and around goes a Ford. That was a CQ, that was a Radicals car, I should say. It's Ben Hackerson. Surely that car is a write-off. Somehow it's pointing in the right direction. Hopefully it still is by the time we get to the Interlagos. There's another car off. That is Matt Bunn, and another few cars off too.
Yeah, massive crash on the Porsche. It's so avoidable a couple of days instance, but the driver's just getting a little bit too aggressive in these early stages. David White around then, and someone else as well. Lee Deemer, I think, is also out of the race. Yeah, he's escaped back, and that's how it all happened. Well, yeah, a bit inevitable that we were going to see more and more incidents, just cars going absolutely everywhere. That was the demon one I was talking about. Two drivers turning into one another, and that's what happens when you do that, unfortunately. So quite a few casualties early on near the back of the field, but what a start for Ben Palmer. Look at that. I thought he was the only driver on the circuit. He's 1.5 seconds clear of the rest of the field. That #1 car really representing his quality of driving right now.
Indeed it is, and it's a BMW that's still awaiting a win in the World GT Championship. I'm just trying to cast my mind back to race 2 and what car won there. But here we go, across the line to complete the opening lap. It's going to be Palmer, but it's going to be a battle between Michael Blake and Jamie Rushworth a second. So too Josh Thompson versus Rusty Laidler. And up the inside also is Carl Janssen. Janssen might try and get past the BMW also. Look at how Thompson's latched onto the back of Michael Blake and Rushworth within seconds of getting by Laidler here. Into the pits at the end of the lap comes Daniel Kraft. Janssen doing some defensive driving too, but it's going to be Thompson up into third. He's already cracked the podium positions already. 4 places gained for Thompson. He could have easily have won race 1. He could have potentially won race 2, but I think he might have just been a bit too far away from Ash Sutton and his BMW. Of course, BMW there won race 2. So it has broken its stuck in the World GT Championship with the new M8. But here in race 3, if Thompson can catch up to Ben Palmer, it's going to be a really interesting scrap there. But end of opening lap, in terms of where the manufacturers are, as Janssen flies at the inside of Michael Blake. BMW leading, then Porsche in second, then it's BMW, then a Ford, then another BMW, then 2 Porsches in Blake and Burke, and then we've got a BMW, and then finally the first Ferrari is Michael Blake, and now gets by Laidler too, and this is really going to hold them up. This is going to allow Blake and Burke, the Sim Morsel and the Team Lizard cars, to really close up on these two. And we could, oh look at the BMW all over the place. That's the 10 years of CQR car getting driven by Michael Hall. We could go 3 wide down the front straight here. This might not end well. And across goes Steve Perk in his defence. Up the inside goes Michael Blake on Laidler. Laidler's got a fantastic view of all these cars scrapping away. And now the Sim Morsel car is really going to be a disadvantage. Sam there, he had to go wide through the second part of the Senna S, and now here comes Mike Gray, the highest AM driver in race 1 and race 2. He might fancy his chances of getting that in race 3 here if he can get by these guys. Yeah, and Ash Sutton is trying to join this one as well. He's just on the inside in that BMW, I believe. And Gray just losing out there. And yeah, he's part of a good fight so far today as Gray though. Sutton and Hall go side by side. I think that's Sutton on the outside, and he's trying to get Gray as well. That's super aggressive there from Ash, but he's been absolutely loving his time out there today. Oh. Seemingly the fastest driver out there as round goes Hall, and well, that was a very negative few corners. He went from gaining a couple of positions to losing some 10 places there. More problems for Sindre Setsas. When it rains, it pours. This time it is one of the Fords. That's Hackerson. Oh dear, he takes evasive action of a crash going through the Senna S, and then hits a drain going back onto the circuit and sends the Corsim racing car around. Looks like he hasn't hit anything, and he should be able to get going again. But now he's in 35th place. That's not going to help his charge through the field, as Josh Thompson is now up in 2nd place. He's got past Jamie Rushworth, who's now feeling pressure from Carl Janssen. Look at Rushworth flying up the inside under braking. He's going to go wide through the first part of the Senna S. This could really get interesting now. He's going to be at a real disadvantage. The former BSRTC champion. Janssen's up the inside. Thompson tried to close the door, but it was too late. And up the Ford should get into 3rd spot now. Thompson, oh, well done, Jamie Rushworth, trying to hold it out around the outside here. Carl Janssen's really going to have to fight for this. Thompson gets forced onto the AstroTurf. But now the Ford has the line and the position. Thompson has the slipstream though. Sorry, Rushworth has the slipstream, and he can't find a way through there as Michael Hall continues to drop down the order. A little lockup from Janssen too as well, so this battle for the final spot on the podium is anyone's game right now, and I wonder if Laidler may be starting to come under pressure from Sutton in a couple of laps too, as the fast guys start to get their way back to the front of the field. And it's still Laidler who is the highest AM, then it's Burke, then it's Mike Gray, and then it's Michael Blake as well.
Yeah, it was in Rushworth's best interest there to try to hold up Janssen for as long as possible, help out his teammate Josh Thompson, also Ash Sutton as well, and Rusty Laidler to go in there as well, because it's a CQR 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 currently, absolutely dominating proceedings at the moment. And Rushworth just losing a little bit of touch now, as you can see those two BMWs really closing in just behind. Sutton on that last lap over a second faster than the race leaders, Mike Gray. We were praising him too much, and that was always going to happen. And Gray losing a lots of positions then. He realised he's not going to be able to get onto the circuit at that part of the track anytime soon, so has to find another way, as we see a BMW with the majority of the front end gone. Michael Ford has been in the wars in the past few laps, really with quite a bit of damage there. Thankfully for him, he won't need those headlights to the end of the race, most likely.
Oh, Jamie Rushworth is in all sorts of chaos here. He's off, and I wonder if something might be broken. Somebody else has gone off. I think that might be Andy Shield, was it? He was all sorts of all over the place. Anyway, what happened to cause this to Jamie Rushworth then? He was holding third place, or he just lost third place. Oh, lost it going into Ferragura. Trying to get the wheel the right way again, and then by the time he does, it loses it and spits him out again. And fortunately, everyone avoids him. But what a shame for Jamie Rushworth. He's now down in 19th place. He's got Daniel Macaulay just in front of him, and then after that it's Richard Warmingham and then Simon Underhill too. So that is the state of play regarding Rushworth. Meanwhile, Ash Sutton has disposed of Rusty Laidler. Sutton is now up into 4th, and now we can worry about catching Carl Janssen, but Janssen is 2.3 seconds away, so he's going to have to spend the majority of the next half of this race to try and get those positions back.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough job for him, as we see, Blake down 8 positions so far. And he's trying to challenge Baker here, but no, just flashing the headlights. Often flashing the headlights can be very aggressive, you're not very happy with someone, and other times it can be very polite, saying, you know, you go ahead and let's not fight too much and help each other out a little bit. And that was what Blake wanted to do there, as we see Rose around the outside of Phillips. Down a couple of positions so far is Rose, and he's going to be pushed off the circuit a little bit there. Phillips has had a decent day, particularly that race 2 was very strong from him. And also Jacobs not too far behind. Gregory with a nice race so far for Texans Pitstone Motorsport, up 13 places into 14th position now. He's got quite a queue behind him. Really has kind of calmed down out in the lead, you know, just a second between every driver in the top 6 drivers or so. And then it all gets quite interesting in this battle behind us. That battle just behind this, Jacobs, Gregory, Shield and Underhill and Warmingham, throwing Rushworth and Macaulay in there as well, who are going to be gaining on them very quickly. And that's going to be a nice battle for the top 14.
Yeah, here is Tom Jacobs and here is Ben Gregory. Gregory at the inside of Jacobs in the Beast car. Texans Pitstone Motorsport up to 13th place. Gregory has gained 14 positions since the start of this one, and he is continuing to work his way through the field. Andy Shield now fancy his chances of getting past the Beast Racing car too, as and turns him around into the wall. Around goes Tom Jacobs, out of the race surely. The front wheel is gone. It is literally not there anymore, and he's going to have 3 wheels on his wagon. Not something we see too often on iRacing. The wheel is gone, and Tom Jacobs is gone. What a disaster for him.
Well, I'm sure, like the rest of the racing world, you've seen the video of the V8 car losing its wheel and joining the other tyres in the tyre barrier. One of the best videos of all time, that. Hopefully that'll be an element to iRacing we'll see soon, but very good of them to add that addition with the falling off parts, as Phillips has a couple of bad corners there, trying to attack Blake. Loses out to Rose in the end. A constant changing of positions as Thompson and Janssen getting very close to one another. Thompson just struggling to really make much of an impact into Ben Palmer currently, and this has been a poor lap for Thompson. He's clearly made a mistake. Sector 1, he lost 0.7 of a second compared to what he normally does, and it's meant that he's a little bit further behind Ben Palmer than he ought to be, and he's only just ahead of Carl Janssen. So this is going to be good with Ash Sutton closing in on these guys.
Yeah, Sutton's still 2.5 seconds away. Last time around, Sutton did a 27.4, which is actually slower than Carl Janssen, as Thompson runs a little bit wide. I believe the damage model is getting done in phases. I think this is the first phase where we see the aftermath of the damage, but we don't have the bits flying off. So the grille will go, like we've seen on a few of the BMWs. The wheel will fly off, like we saw on Tom Jacobs. I think it might be maybe the next builds where we actually see the parts themselves fly away. As Carl Janssen really closes up through the infield section. They're also closing in on Palmer. You can see at the start of the lap it was 1.2 seconds. It's now just a solitary second, and in fact it's you can see the interval's gone into yellow now because they are closing the gap almost corner by corner here. It was 1 second about 10 or so seconds ago. Now it's 0.8 of a second as they've used all of the AstroTurf on the exit, and it's now Palmer leading Thompson by just 0.8 as they come through the final corner, and they're going to come across the line against Sutton. Meanwhile, he's on his own really in 4th, and it's Laidler in 5th. He too is got a nice bit of a buffer, and then it's a flurry of cars there, and this battle between Andy Shield and Michael Blake as they come across the line. He's already taken one car out in Tom Jacobs. He doesn't want to make it two, otherwise they could potentially have a little bit of a meeting with the stewards as up the inside goes Shield. It's near whereabouts he collided with Jacobs a couple of laps ago. Blake is there on the inside. Shield gets it done and is able to keep Michael Blake at bay. As things stand, Blake is the third AM driver behind Burke and behind Rusty Laidler too, as now Michael Blake going to feel the heat of Simon Underhill in the Nomad green Ford. Oh, and on the brakes, Jamie Rushworth slamming on the brakes to avoid contact with the 4GT there, as things get a little bit close for comfort in the midfield. Now Richard Warmingham is right on their tail. So too is Daniel McCauley in the CQR Sim Sports car here. Trying to go around the outside, nowhere through there. He's gained 5 positions. In fact, biggest mover in the field is Matt Bunn with 23 positions.
All very close between the leaders, so...
Oh yeah, in fact Thompson, has he got the lead? He has. Sorry Sam, yeah, Josh Thompson into the lead, and Palmer down to second. We'll see if Palmer can respond before we get to turn 1.
Well, I think these two are teammates, so I think what Palmer's trying to do here, let past Thompson, and then he'll try to hold up Janssen for as many corners as he possibly can. There goes Thompson, so yeah, Palmer's certainly just staying in behind. And this is tough for Janssen, because if Stutson can get involved in this one as well, it's going to be 3v1 for him. And you'll see, I think Thompson, just with a much better run coming out of the next corner. And... well, this will be very easily done for him. If anything, actually really lifting off there, Palmer. Thompson did well to keep his foot down on the foot to the metal there. And yeah, so Thompson up into the lead. And Palmer still holding up Janssen. Although Thompson with a little bit of a mistake there.
I wonder they might just be trying to get Ash Sutton into the mix as well. We've got, the gap is 1.4 seconds between them. I'm sure they're all in communication with one another, even though they're driving for technically two different teams, CQR Racer and CQR GT. Sutton, of course, in the 10 years of CQR car, he's just 1.3 seconds away from those guys now. So it will be very interesting to see whether they can get there before the end of the race. Credit to Sindre Setsas. You can see him just at the bottom of the timing tower. He's in 19th place now. He's gained 21 places since the start. And behind Matt, he was almost on par with Matt Bunn. In fact, he's equal with Matt Bunn in terms of most positions gained during the race, as here comes Carl Janssen. He has been right in the mix all day today, has the Ford. Almost touches the grass going under braking there. But he remains in control of the car, and now Palmer's got a real problem here. He's lost his teammate Josh Thompson. Janssen, is he going to go to the inside now? Thinks about it. Is he going to do a dummy on him? No, he's going to try and get it done around the outside here, actually. Wheel to wheel. This is just going to be music to Sutton's ears. Look at that. He's only now half a second away, and Janssen flashes the lights in frustration at the BMW in front that he just can't get by. And now he's got to deal with the man of the moment, Ash Sutton, who won race 2 earlier. Started in 18th after picking up the reverse grid. And now he's fancy his chances of getting on the podium again here as the front 4 go into the Bico de Pato with just 5 minutes to go. Sutton up the inside into the right-hander. He sends it. He licks the stamp and he sends it going into the right-hander, one of the slowest parts on the circuit. And now they're going to go wheel to wheel through the left-hander and up to the junk out, the final corner. Look at Sutton. He's taken the widest line possible. Going to get the mother of all cutbacks. And there's nothing Janssen could do about that unless he can hold it out for the drag race.
Yeah, he's going to have to get back into the slipstream now, Will Janssen. But seeing that he couldn't get past Palmer, I doubt he's going to be able to get past Sutton. And this is working out brilliantly for CQR, occupying all the positions on the podium at the moment. Janssen not going for the dummy. Just doesn't really have enough weapons in his toolbox, I feel, to really take on these guys in racecraft. Whereas Ash Sutton, absolutely one of the best drivers out there when it comes to wheel-to-wheel combat. We've seen that in the BSRTC Pro Series over the past couple of years. And Janssen now will just have to follow him along as they catch back up to Ben Palmer. very close between Baker, Danes and Rose, by the way. Pretty much nothing between them currently, as Baker just establishes that 7th position. But once again, Danes now going ahead for the Northern Lights Racing team. Going to the outside, and he's going to be able to make that one now. So that is Rose as well getting involved. Of course, Baker and Rose are teammates, so we want to take each other out. And Steve Burke, great job from Steve out there. Lost a few positions on his start, but Team Lizard doing very well in the top 10 currently.
Indeed they are. In terms of AMS, it's Laidler and Burke there too in 10th place. Mike Gray is down in 27th place. Has had to make a pit stop to pick up a fresh new car too. So don't know what happened there. Meanwhile, Sutton is back under pressure again from Carl Janssen as they come across the line. Laidler and McFarlane haven't really got too much trouble to worry about as we start the penultimate lap here. Yeah, the rattle and the rasp of the cars on the overrun as they go down the gears into the first corner. And this battle could be on for second place. I wonder if Janssen and Sutton both fancy their chances of getting by Ben Palmer before the end of the race. Sindre Setsas, look at this, he's in a right gaggle of cars here, and he's just got past Michael Blake. Setsas up to 15th place with 2 laps to go. Can he make it up into the top 14? We'll have to wait and see. He's already on the back of Daniel McCauley. He's 2/10 of a second away. Is he going to go on the inside? This is where he collided with Josh Thompson earlier on in the race, but the answer is no. Meanwhile, 2 CQR race-up teammates, Rose and Baker, they don't want to run into each other, but it looks like it's going to be Baker with the inside line into the infield section, and indeed he gets through. So 2 CQR race-up cars battle. Sindre Setsas is working his way up the order with just a few laps to go now as the battle for second place enters the final lap.
Yep, so you'd expect Sutton to get past Palmer, because Palmer was very kind letting past Thompson, of course, earlier on. But we'll try to keep back Janssen. They'll be desperate for this 1, 2, 3, of course, as Sutton goes down the inside. Now, can Janssen just dive down the inside? Not quite, wasn't close enough. And now, yes, Sutton in a very good position for second place. And it's now just up to Palmer to lock out this podium now. Of course, we'll get the slipstream from his teammate. We will be very thankful for that one. Ken Janssen looks to the inside, goes to the outside instead. And actually, they're all kind of just tripping over each other now, the CQR drivers. And, well, Janssen trying to find a way through. But those BMWs are very wide, very large indeed. And they're occupying the entire circuit currently. And they are doing, well, this is absolutely perfect driving. There's nowhere that Janssen can possibly go. They are just looking out the entire circuit. Well, you could not write this. This is exhibition stuff.
Shades of that Top Gear challenge at Rockingham, where they just blocked the entire circuit on that track day. And this is going to infuriate Carl Janssen. And now look at that, they now slot back into flying formation, and nothing that Carl Janssen can do. Meanwhile, Josh Thompson, he could have won race 1, he might have won race 2, but he's definitely going to win race 3. He's coming to the flag now. The CQR race-up car is going to emerge from the right-hand side. There he is, he flashes the lights in jubilation. Josh Thompson wins race 3 of the day here at Interlagos. Second, Ash Sutton. Third, Ben Palmer. Brilliantly orchestrated from those two. And 4th place is going to be a frustrated Carl Janssen. 5th place is just going to be Rusty Laidler. He is the highest AM. And then it's Chris Daines ahead of Dave Baker, and then Christian Rose. Those two very close indeed. Sindre Setsas, he started 40th, he finishes 14th. A solid drive there that might just keep him in the hunt in terms of the championship. Jamie Rushworth, who was near the front earlier on, comes home to take 16th. Matt Bunn takes 19th. Mike Gray, despite coming into the pits to pick up a new car, is going to come across the line and take 25th. In the XVR Silver, and what has been a pretty decent evening for him nonetheless. Top finishes in the AM in race 1 and race 2, and a 25th place in race 3. In terms of class, that is a 9th place finish, so I think you'll take that nonetheless. Michael Hall, he too came into a new car. That's no front splitter, must have been causing him a whole load of issues, and he gets 33rd place, and that is everyone pretty much finished, Sam, as the race is now over.
Yeah, what a day of racing we've seen today. 3 different winners, wasn't it? It was Janssen in race 1, and then Sutton in race 2, and Thompson in race 3. 3 very deserving winners, I think, absolutely. They were the 3 best drivers today, and Thompson just made everything, put everything together in that one. Janssen got held up a little bit earlier on, yeah, a couple of other drivers as well. He tried to follow him through. And yeah, Thompson absolutely nailed it out there, and fully deserved that, and important for the points, because of course Settas not having a very good day, Christian Ray's not having a very good day. The BMW driver certainly right in the championship now, and a great result. I think you may have already mentioned Rusty Laidler in 5th position. What a drive that is for an AM driver, finished so high up the order.
Great job by everybody here as Thompson makes it back to the pits, and we can bring you the finishing order from here at Interlagos. Josh Thompson wins by 3.4 seconds in the end, ahead of the CQR colleagues in Ash Sutton and Ben Palmer. Carl Janssen finishes in 4th, the Swede finishing ahead of Rusty Laidler, who headed home. Ross McFarlane, not too much between them in the end, in fact less than a tenth of a second. Chris Daines finishes in 7th with Dave Baker 8th, Christian Rose in 9th, and Steve Burke 2nd of the AMs in the top 10. Dion Phillips 11th, 12th for Andy Shield, and Ben Gregory finishing in 13th place, followed by Sindre Setsas, Daniel McCauley in 15th, and then Jamie Rushworth in 16th place. 17th for Michael Blake in the Immortal car, then Richard Warmingham, then Matt Bunt, Ronald Moons, the Belgian, and then 2 Nomad Green cars in Jason Dilworth and Simon Underhill. Josh Rayfield in 23rd place, then Josh Rayfield, then Jason Rowe. Then Mike Gray in 25th, despite a visit to the pits. Paul Smith in 26th place. Paul Gosling in 27th. Jake Blackwell, the Aussie, despite having a very good race 1, race 2 and race 3, he was outside the top 20 there. So it'll be interesting to see what CQR Tarkov driver makes of that evening. Lars van Ryn in 29th, and then Ben Hackerson finishing in 30th place. Adam Hedgecock 31st, then David White. Michael Hall came into the pits to replace that front grille and came home to finish in 33rd. James Underhill finishing in 34th in the Northern Lights Racing GT Omega car, and then Scott Malcolm, the Scot, finishing in 35th, Tom Jacobs 36th, and then the cars that had issues during the race: Jerome Kaiser, John Roberts, Morgan Butler, Lane O'Connor, Dan Kraft and Lee Deemer, most of them involved in the mess that we saw on the exit of Curva de Sol. Right then, we have got drivers waiting for interviews, so why not bring in the man of the moment, the winner of race 3 here at Interlagos. He could have won race 1 and he might have won race 2, but he definitely has got it done here in race 3. And we'll get him in now for a quick word. Josh Thompson, welcome to the commentary box. Well, we were just saying that you could have won race 1, and if it wasn't for the crash with Sindre in race 2, you may have had a chance there, but in race 3 you were able to get it done in the BMW.
Yeah, it was a tough evening overall. Few little issues my side, just making mistakes in race 1, which didn't really help. Struggled with the BMW a little bit in race 1, but how the track had evolved over the course of the first practice session into the qualifying stuff. So yeah, to actually get the win in race 3 after the work we got, the guys at Movano and CCAR put in, it was quite nice.
Yeah, race 2 was interesting. It looked like you'd done the dummy to perfection on Sindre Setsas after capitalising on him battling away going through the Senna S, but it wasn't too much contact, but he was able to do enough to break the right front on his Ferrari.
Yeah, this track is so hard to overtake and race at. Like, you could see if you got that little break, you got a chance. So every opportunity, every run you got, you had to go for it. Now, obviously, this, with me switching to BMW, is more prep towards the World Championship. So obviously, in this, I need to know what I can and can't do. I thought I got it perfect, but just pinched the brake on the left front, which is a trait of the BMW. It locks the fronts quite easily, especially the left. Just pinched the brake, so I missed the apex a little bit because of that, and just look, unfortunately, it clipped Sindre at the angle, which it did. Didn't expect it to do that much. That's why I waited, because I was just going to let him back through. So I'm like, again, I'm just going to say on broadcast, I'm sorry, Sindre, for that, because he felt hard doing by that, but there was nothing intentional at all. It was just a little mistake on my end.
In terms of race 1, it was a good battle, and you did lead the most laps, but just before the end, You had your rivals, of course, in the Teams Championship, Course in Racing's Carl Janssen getting by you as well.
Yeah, it was a good race one. Like I said, I struggled a little bit with the BMW, especially the car seemed to struggle a little bit off the final corner. I think that's just a little trait. So it was one of those odd corners. So every time I'd pull away in the infield, Carl and Sindre and everyone would come back in the last corner, and obviously then the run down the straight with a toe was so strong. But yeah, Carl did a great move. I should have covered it, but didn't think he was going for it. But no, he nailed it, man. Ran me out wide, didn't get it to run off, and then just couldn't really capitalise on after that.
Yeah, how is the BMW? Obviously, it's been out for a week. What are the little traits that it's got that you found out over the last week?
I think the drivability is quite good. With the Ford and the Ferrari, it's very wet. Like the weather can make a huge difference. The BMW felt like across all the weathers, what we had tonight, it felt quite good. The main issue with the BMW is you've got to get in this fine window. What we found in the short time we've had, the fine window. I feel like we got a little bit into it thanks to like the work with Dion and Mike this week, Mavano. But I think there's still areas you can improve on, which is good. But I think overall the car balance, well, between all of them, so the Ford, Ferrari, Porsche, I think it's really good because in race one everyone was at the front.
Finally, then, according to our calendar, which said we were meant to be racing Indianapolis today, but anyway, next week apparently is Motorsport in Canada. If we are going there,
Yes, we are.
yeah. What do you make of that one? It's almost a bit similar to Interlagos in the way that the elevation changes around Motorsport, but there isn't too much in the way of runoff. And if you do get on the grass there, you almost seem to go on a head-on crash into the wall. So should be interesting for you.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So the Ferrari is good at the end of the straights when it's right. So I think Sindre will be good down the back straight. The Ford's very good, so Carl will be up there. And I think the BMW will be good in the first part of the lap. So I think overall it'll be quite good. Good evening racing there because it's a place you don't go to often. So we'll have to see what happens.
Should be good. Well, Josh, before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anybody?
Yeah, you guys are broadcasting on esports, so thank you for that. Great as always. Everyone at CQR, without those guys, wouldn't have a team for this season. And again, everyone at Mavano, without those, I wouldn't have had the BMW where it was. So massive thanks to those guys.
No worries. Just a quick question from me because I've been a bit out of the loop. Is a certain touring car championship starting on Thursday, or is
I have no idea.
Is that because you're not partaking in it?
No, I don't have time. Obviously, we qualified for the World Championship, so that's my main focus along with this. So I think it's soon. I think it may be 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
As league organizer.
Oh yes, sorry, Sam. Sorry,
Yes,
league organizer.
Overlord Sam. Yeah, it's 1.5 weeks.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Well,
There's your answer.
I'm sure you'll be maybe watching. I don't know, but
I might do a round or two.
Yeah. No worries. Well done today anyway, Josh. Yeah, a podium in race 1, a win in race 3, and some good points nonetheless. And yeah, we'll hopefully speak to you again at Motorsport next week.
Thank you guys. See you later.
Josh Thompson there. I say that as I try to drag him away. But and who should we go and chat to next, Sam? We've got plenty of drivers to look at in the interview room.
I think Carl Janssen saying that he won race 1.
Okay, Carl Janssen, it is, and we'll drag up. Hopefully we haven't interrupted him. I say we'll drag him up, but I'm doing it and it's not happening. So I don't know if you can have a go, but
I think he's with us now.
Oh right, okay. It's that my Discord is taking an eternity to update itself. But anyway, Carl Janssen with Sam Fitzpatrick.
Yes, and Carl, you must be quite happy with that one in the end. Wasn't the best race 2 with a little bit of a spin, but apart from that, a first in race 1 and a 4th in race 3.
Yeah, it was a really good evening. I feel like I don't think I could have gotten any more out of the car in any of the races. Really, it was maximum performance today. I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. That race 1 was a great watch for us because it wasn't necessarily the best start for you. You know, you only started in about 5th position, I believe. Had to work your way up, and it must have been very satisfying to pull off those moves on your teammate and then Josh out in the lead as well.
Yeah, for sure. But that's like how it's been this whole season. I feel like I haven't gotten the qualifying speed in the Ford as for this race, Josh had in the BMW and Sindre in the Ferrari. So I've always been having to work my way up in the first races, but like Ford was very, very good on its tires. It didn't drive them off as quickly as the Ferrari and BMW did. So like once I got past and the other guys got into my dirty air, then yeah, they just dropped back.
Of course, that third race, one of the most comical moments I think I've ever seen on the iRacing Esports network, with the two BMWs right in front of you blocking the circuit. You just had no way through. It must have been incredibly agonizing for you.
Yeah, it's I saw them going like too wide, so I was like, I'm maybe gonna be able to sneak past there. And then Ash broke like 100 meters earlier to make it to like complete side by side with his teammate. Yeah, just kept it through the whole track. It was nowhere to get past.
Yeah, it was super difficult for you. And next week we head to Mosport, one that you enjoy. It should be quite a good one for the Ford, shouldn't it?
It should be very good for the Ford. Yeah, a lot of high-speed corners. Should suit it very well. Moss corner is going to be a little bit interesting now though with the BMW because it got such a traction. It's I think it has high possibility of actually driving away in the beginning of the straight, but the Ford is going to close up in the end of the straight for sure.
Yeah, it should be great to watch that one. It's been great to watch you out there today, Carl. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Sindre for running with me, and then the whole core sim racing.
Thanks, Carl, and we'll see you in 1 week's time.
Yep, see you then.
Kai Jensen there. Good to hear from him in his car. And next we'll go on to his teammate. We'll go on to Sindre Setsas, who had a very interesting evening, to say the least. Had a good race one. Just missed out on a podium in race one, and then race two happened, and then a great comeback through the field in race three. And he joins us in the interview room now. So Sindre, a bit of an interesting evening with peaks and valleys almost. Fourth in race one, then obviously the crash with Thompson in race two, and then a good fight through the field to get a top 15 in race three.
Yeah, I think this is going to be my drop week. Trailing in the championship as well, so I really need those points. So it's hard out there. People, I don't know. It seems like nobody ever gives up a position, which makes it super hard to both pass people and to fight. So it's really hard. Yeah,
Josh Thompson was just one of the drivers you were battling with earlier. Was saying to us in the interview room just before you came about how Interlagos is insanely difficult in these cars to get a position in done. Does that mean that some of the drivers were taking maybe too many risks in terms of getting places today?
Yeah, there's definitely some drivers out there that kept their nose in it way too long and tried gaps that was never going to work. But it was hard. I lost about 10 seconds in the last race as well. I guess you didn't see that.
I think we did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crashes everywhere, and I terrible rejoin. The car just bottomed out, and I probably would have been within the top 10 fighting there in the last race, which would have been good. But it's just unfortunate.
Maybe a shame that iRacing haven't done a rescan of Interlagos since, because I think it's all tarmac on the area that you ran over now. But nonetheless, next week, Most Sport in Canada. Just before we get onto that, actually, what was it like with the racing with the BMWs out there? Because obviously, it's just been on the iRacing service for over a week. What's it like racing around that with the Ferrari and with the Ford as well?
I think I don't know. I don't like racing them at all, because it seems like it's a bit unnaturally quick. So it's like maybe puts people into a position where they don't have the pace to be, and having the 200 points taken away from people, switching over as well makes them having nothing to lose as well. So it's really hard for us drivers fighting for the championship, having to battle cars that's not in it for the championship. So yeah, it's hard, and I don't even enjoy driving it myself. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah. Before we let you go, then, do you want to send a quick shout out to anybody?
Yeah, shout out to Carl for racing this with me. I don't think I would have been running this at all from now on and out the season without Carl. It's keeps some positivity in there, and want to shout out to the whole of Core Sim Racing.
Great, well done today. The comeback in race 3 was still pretty good despite the off in the centre S, and yeah, hopefully things go better for you next week at Motorsport in Canada.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Sindre sets us there. Who are you targeting next, Sam?
Ooh, should I go for Rusty Laidler? Because he did such a fantastic job in race 3 that we ought to have a word with him, I think. And yes, we can say, Rusty, really well done out there. 5th position, you must be absolutely delighted with that.
I am absolutely over the moon with tonight. I kind of feel like my old self, if that makes any sense.
Well, fantastic, absolutely superb. Because yeah, you were right in the mix there. That must have been a pretty close run to the line with you and Ross. We didn't quite see that run to the line, but less than a tenth of a second between you two.
Yeah, to be honest, the way Ross was catching me towards the end, because I just pushed my tyres too hard early on. If there was another lap, I would have just let him go, because I was leading the AM class, and there was, I think it was like 3 or 4 seconds to the next car behind. But when I saw it was the white flag, when Ross was in like 5/10 of me, I was like, nah, not this time.
Well, it must have been quite a different experience with the BMW. Was it quite nice to kind of get that refresher, you know, a new car, a new start, of course, a week break as well? Must have been quite nice to just reset your mind.
Yeah, honestly, the BMW's completely like reinvigorated myself. I've never done well in mid-engine stuff, and for me, that Ferrari, whilst I enjoyed it when I tried all 3 at a friend's house. The Ford I felt too, because I'm on VR. The Ford felt too claustrophobic. I couldn't get on with the brakes with the Porsche, and the Ferrari was the kind of I felt comfortable in. But as it went on, the Ferrari just felt more and more numb to myself. And as soon as I got a chance for the BMW, I literally jumped at it, because it's got the engine over the front axle. And that gives me that natural feel that I'm so used to, because on the last sort of, like, as Adam will know, the last sort of 3 or 4 years, all I've done on iRacing is that Kia Optima.
Oh.
So I'm used to having a lot of nose weight and having to deal with that, and that's how fighting understeer, all that kind of stuff. That's how I'm used to driving. So having that nose weight back in the front with the BMW, I've got so much more feel through the front axle, and now that I have that front axle feel, I can get the car to do what I want. I can drive the car how I want to. The only thing I've been fighting all day today was my brakes, because the load cell on my pedals is bust. So I'm having to brake about 10-15 meters earlier than everyone else, because if I'm just a bit too vigorous on the brakes, that back axle just snaps on me.
Well, it certainly didn't seem to slow you down too much today. And despite you taking that big points penalty, you got any aims for the championship? Because you keep on bashing in these results, and we saw a few of your AM competitors near the top of the championship having problems to get today. You're going to be pretty close to them by the end of this season.
Drivers wise, I'm not really concentrating on that. It's all about the team for myself. This season I've kind of using this season to kind of find the love for iRacing again, if that makes any sense. And again, it's a new class of car for myself, so I'm just trying to get my eye in, get a good feel for it. So if I do next season, so long as I'm still in the AM class, I can have a good go at the driver's title. But for now, it's just about the team for myself. Jake's done a sterling job all season long of carrying the Tarkov team, and Morgan's been constantly chipping in good results. So it's now I've got a car that I can drive. It's about time I started pulling my weight.
Absolutely. It was great to watch you out there today, Rusty. And before we let you get any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Just everyone in CQR, just keeping me going, because as they all know, I technically quit after Le Mans. So they're the ones that have kept me going, keep me in the right direction. Josh has been helping me left and right with setups, and yeah, just the whole team and all the other people that have been popping by my stream over the last couple of weeks as well. So yeah, and thanks to you guys for putting on a good show.
Thanks, Rusty, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you later, boys.
Rusty Layla there. And we have, it's going to quarter to 11, so we've got enough time for, who else is in there that we haven't spoke to yet? We've got Tom Jacobs, we've got Michael Blake, and we've got Christian Rose as well. So I think we'll rush through these. I think we might even drag all three of them up all together, actually, and get them in for a quick chat. We're joined now in the commentary box by three drivers, Michael Blake, Tom Jacobs, and Christian Rose as well. Christian, we'll come to you first. In terms of race 3, finishing in, as he looks at the time screen frantically, in 9th place. Talk about the evening as a whole. How was it out there for you?
Yeah, it was difficult. I think all of the drivers in the Porsche really struggled here tonight. Just really struggling in the straight line. You know, I've sort of go down the Fernando Alonso route here, streaming GP2 engine. Yeah, no, it was really tough. We had to really be confident in the moves we were making. Otherwise, you more than likely have an accident. So yeah, no, we tried our best, and I managed to score 3 decent results tonight. So that's all I'm about at the moment. Just bringing it home, scoring some good points for the championship.
Moving on quickly to Michael Blake. Interesting night for you in terms of the AM category. Obviously, you had Mike Gray doing quite well in race 1 and race 2, but then in race 3, you were in with a shout of getting some of the best results in the AM category tonight.
Yeah, Mike had a good night tonight. We came together in race 3. I did all I could to stop, and I was on the curb. I'm sorry that we made contact. So it wasn't intentional. But I'll take my portion of the blame in it. But there could have been a little bit more room, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, the problem was that I just had to get my elbows out, damaged imitation, because that Porsche is destroyed. I don't think I've ever seen iRacing get the BOP so far wrong. You beat a car out of the second to last corner, and you pull away from them coming onto the straight, and then by the pit entry they're alongside you. It is so slow in a straight line now.
And Tom, I think you were in a Porsche as well, and you got to experience the full effect of the iRacing damage model. I think we saw one of your wheels missing after a crash in race 3.
Yeah, I was coming out of turn 1, and then as we came down onto the straight, me and Andy Shield were side by side, and I think it was maybe I drifted to the left, he drifted to the right a bit, maybe a bit of net code in there as well, and I just got turned across his front end, and round she went. But yeah, it was then we just went out again. Really, we had just to try and not go more than a lap down, just try and gather some points at the end. But apart from that, I had a really good evening. 2 P2s in AM from race 1 and race 2. So yeah, nice evening for Team Lizard.
Yeah, Team Lizard doing pretty well at the moment. How do you see the rest of the season going? With still some big races to go. Obviously, Mosport next week, and we've got another Enduro in a couple of weeks at Daytona.
Yeah, I think Enduro's normally our forte, so to speak, with Steve doing it in real life as well. Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. Next season's going to be a bit more interesting because obviously this is our pilot season, so yeah, it could be good. But as Michael said, the Porsche at the moment, the BOP is way off, and I think we're right at the back in terms of quickest car at the moment. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting. Hopefully, we can bring some more points back for the team.
Great. Well, Michael, before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anybody on behalf of Simmortal?
You guys for the broadcast, all the admins at World GT, because without their hard work we wouldn't have this. Drive Doctors, our sponsor, Dragon Internet. I'll just say again, sorry for my part in the contact with Mike.
Nice one. And
we all really enjoy watching the racing back because we only see it from our perspective, so it's fantastic to see what happened as a whole. Everyone at CQR, just a quick shout out to Rusty. Took an arm win tonight, and that's really strong effort for him.
Great. And finally, Tom, any shout out you want to make from the Team Lizard crew?
Yeah, obviously you boys for doing the stream. Brilliant stuff as always. We always like watching it back, as Shifty said. Everyone at Team Lizard, Una Health, all the sponsors, Abbey Motorsport, Debbie and Andrew Sausages as well. Yeah, just brilliant, and all the admins at World GT. They put on a brilliant series for us, and it's the highlight of the week. So, thanks very much.
No worries, Dan. Yeah, well done to all of you guys out there tonight, and yeah, we'll hopefully speak to you at some point over the next few weeks.
Cheers, guys.
There they all go. And yeah, some final thoughts from yourself after as the sun begins to set and darkness starts to envelop this Interlagos circuit.
Yeah, it's great to see the sunset. And of course, it was nice to see the new damage effects as well, of course, on the cars as well. And yeah, just really excited about the next 5 rounds, the final 5 rounds of the championship, and Mosspot next up. Of course, this circuit not necessarily the easiest to overtake round. Mosspot could be even more difficult. Really unique circuit, lots of long corners. And that's going to be so much fun. I don't think it's a circuit that necessarily a lot of these European racers tend to visit much. So we could see maybe a few surprises. I think we're going to see more great racing in the World GT Championship, because today just it just keeps on producing, and there's no drop off whatsoever in the registrations or the quality of racing. It's an absolute pleasure to broadcast this week, this series, week in, week out.
Great. Well, that is about it from us here at Interlagos, here on the iRacing Esports Network. My thanks to Sam, as always, for coming in and joining me in the commentary box for this one. And we will be back this time next week, 8 PM GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, better known as Mosport, for the next round of the World GT Championship. So, from all of us here at Interlagos, bye for now.